Chapter 2632 Breakthrough. One had to know that within the Qin Heavenly 13 clans, there were divine techniques that could cultivate divine-grade divine power or even divine-grade divine power. However, over the long years, only a few of them were able to do so. Who is that Ling Huyi? I've never heard of this before. Indeed, I've never heard of it either. He might be a new genius. However, he is definitely not on the same level as Golden Sage, Huya, and Yang Chong. That's right. The crowd looked at the ranking on the screen and discussed. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming had been cultivating the incomplete divine skill in seclusion for 1.5 months. Half of the 3-month period had passed, said. For 1.5 months, Lu Ming had been focused on comprehending the incomplete divine skill and did not go out to hunt. Naturally, his ranking dropped rapidly. That Lu Ming can't do it anymore. His points have not changed for 1.5 months and his ranking has dropped to more than 5,300. I knew it. He definitely can't make it into the top 100. That's right. Previously, he was just lucky. I think he encountered some weaklings, which was why he managed to obtain some points. As time passes, the weaklings will be eliminated, and those who remain will be the strong. He must be looking for an opportunity to hide and not dare to make a move. Weaklings are weaklings. They definitely won't be able to enter the top 100. Kang Ji and Situ Haonan both looked at the ancestor of technique and mocked him. Look, Feng has entered the top 100, and his ranking is still rising. He's 92, 81. Suddenly, Situ Haonan's eyes lit up. Because at this moment, Situ Feng's ranking in the 9th region had suddenly skyrocketed. Originally, Situ Feng's ranking had been outside of the 100th place, but it had suddenly soared all the way to the 72nd place before it stopped. I knew it. With Feng Er's talent, he would definitely be able to enter the top 100. As expected, he must have killed an expert just now and obtained a large number of points. Situ Haonan laughed out loud in excitement. The pavilion master of Yunfeng Pavilion nodded his head. Situ Feng had far Serpa. Said the others in the tower challenge test, and she had high hopes for him. Look, Xian Yanqing is in the top 100. Xian Yanjuan is in the top 100 too. Suddenly, an old man beside the pavilion master of the Cloud Peak Pavilion shouted. The crowd looked over and saw that Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan had indeed made it into the top 100. The galaxy behind their names was naturally the chaotic astral river. Which force do these two belong to? He didn't show off before, but he actually made it into the top 100. Someone was puzzled. I remember that they were two beautiful women. They were sisters and seemed to be from the righteous army. From the righteous army? However, the three of them did not act rashly because Lu Ming was too calm. He was so calm even when facing the three of them, which made them feel a little guilty. You didn't run when you saw us. You're very confident. One of the young men said. You're here to give me points, why should I escape? Lu Ming asked. Give you free points? You're really confident. I'm just afraid you don't have the ability. The other youth said. His divine power surged and a combat sword formed. Make your move. I'll give you the chance to make your move. Lu Ming said calmly. Arrogant. Let's kill him together. A young man coldly shouted. In an instant, the three young men moved. 3 attacks were aimed at Lu Ming. It's not weak. It seems that after more than a month of fighting, those who can be left behind have some skills. As soon as the 3 of them attacked, Lu Ming could tell that the 3 young men were not weak. Although the divine power that the 3 of them controlled was only ordinary divine power, they had a deep understanding of the incomplete divine skill. They had reached the limit of the first stage and were not far from the second stage. However, compared to Lu Ming, he was still far from having such abilities. Whoosh! 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 Lu Ming clenched his fist in the air and a long spear was formed. He then thrust it out. The 3 spear lights were aimed at the 3 young men. Each spear ray had 7 variations, making it impossible to guard against. Pft! 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 When the spear radiance disappeared, a hole had appeared between the 3 young men's eyebrows. So powerful, this was the last thought of the 3 young men. Then, with a bang, their bodies turned into energy and dissipated. My points have actually increased by 236 points. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. Originally, he had 88 points. However, after killing the 3 young men, his points suddenly became 324 points, an increase of 236 points. As expected, those who can stay until the end are all experts. Each of them has a lot of points. That's great. Lu Ming laughed. His figure flashed and he went to look for his next opponent. Not long after, Lu Ming discovered another young genius hiding in a house. Lu Ming attacked directly and killed the person in an instant. His points had become 367, and he was now in the top 2000. Chapter 2633 Experts Distribution 1000 Spirit City. Look, Lu Ming's ranking has risen. He's rising so quickly. His score has also soared. He's already at 367 points. Also, his ranking has already charged into the top 2000. He's starting to exert his strength. He must have been delayed by something. I've risen again. I'm now more than 400 points. I'm ranked 1378. Some people from the chaotic astral river suddenly cried out. After all, Lu Ming had made it into the top 100 before and then stopped. However, many people in the chaotic astral river were still paying attention to Lu Ming. At that moment, Lu Ming's ranking suddenly soared and these people immediately cried out. Humph. Kang Ji and Situ Haonan also looked over. The moment they saw it, they both let out a cold humph and their expressions were extremely unhappy. It's only 1,000 or so. There's still a long way to go before the top 100. That's right. The further we go, the more experts will be left behind. Without Feng Er's talent, we'll be killed sooner or later, and our ranking will drop drastically. Kang Ji and Situ Haonan said unhappily. However, the moment Situ Haonan finished speaking, his expression changed drastically. Because in a certain area, Situ Shao's ranking had suddenly dropped. Originally, Situ Shao had already made it to the 300th place in that area. However, at this moment, his ranking had dropped drastically, falling to the 500th place. There could only be one reason for him to drop so many ranks all of a sudden. He had been killed, and his points had been halved. That was why he had dropped so badly. Ha ha ha, Situ Haonan, did you just say your son, Situ Shao? You're right. I have to say, you really have a jinx's mouth. The ancestor of technique laughed heartily. He was extremely carefree. Fa Ming, Situ Haonan's chest heaved up and down, and he almost vomited blood. Just now, he had mocked Lu Ming and Situ Shao was immediately killed. It matched his words too well. It was as if he was deliberately slapping his face. This coincidence made the other forces, leaders on the side couldn't help but laugh out loud. Even Kang Jiuyen's body was twitching as he tried his best not to laugh. Situ Haonan's lips trembled in anger. The Cloud Peak Pavilion Master looked on coldly. In the chaotic astral river, there are close to 1,000 major and minor powers. It's normal for them to fight and kill each other. She was also happy to see such a situation. Only when the other powers were killing each other would her Yunfeng Pavilion be able to sit firmly as the overlord of the chaotic astral river. He has risen again. Lu Ming's ranking has risen again. He's so fast. The other party was overjoyed. He cupped his fists and turned to leave, disappearing without a trace in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming did not kill the other party. The other party's strength was average and he would not have many points. Even if he killed him, he would not gain many points. I don't know where these top experts are. It seems like I can only try my luck. Lu Ming muttered. Then, He randomly chose a direction and left. Not long after, Lu Ming came to a wide street alone. Buzz! 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 All of a sudden, a group of people surrounded Lu Ming in a flash. There were more than 20 of them. Ha ha ha, it's you, kid. What a coincidence, what a coincidence. Now, let's see how you die. One of them burst out laughing the moment he saw Lu Ming. What a coincidence. The corners of Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. It was actually the Tiger Men. Moreover, the person who laughed just now was actually Hu Mao, the one who had declared that he would let all the Tiger clan kill Lu Ming. Kid, it seems like the heavens want you to touch me. Now, kneel down and lick my shoes, and I'll consider letting you die a quick death. Hu Mao extended a leg and said coldly. The other Tiger Men glared at Lu Ming coldly. It seems that you have quite a lot of points on you. Then, your points are mine. Lu Ming could not be bothered with the tiger's fur and spoke indifferently. What? What? Hu Mao and the others were stunned, thinking that they had heard wrong. What did Lu Ming say? They wanted to steal their points. Is he crazy? A mere piece of trash from the chaotic astral river actually wants to take their points. If he's not crazy, what is he? It seems that this brat is not only stupid but also blindly arrogant. How sad. Since that's the case, I'll let him die miserably and let him know the consequences of offending my Tiger Man race. Hu Mao said sinisterly. Leave it to me. One of the Tiger clan's young men made a move. He waved his large hand and grabbed Lu Ming. In his opinion, Lu Ming was merely at the transformation void martial stage. Moreover, he came from a small place like the chaotic astral river. What kind of combat strength could he have? He could easily suppress Lu Ming with a flip of his hand. Chapter 2634 Ranking soars. Just as the Tiger Youth's palm was about to hit Lu Ming's fingers were like a long spear, pointing out. A ray of spear light burst forth. It was extremely bright and fast. Pfft! The body of the young man from the Tiger tribe suddenly froze in midair. This was because the SPCE between his eyebrows had been pierced by Lu Ming's spear gleam and he had died on the spot. Bang! Then, the body of the Tiger Youth exploded with a bang and dissipated into energy. Hu Mao and the others were all shocked. This was completely beyond their expectations. A mere transformation void martial artist from the chaotic astral river had actually killed a Heaven's Pride expert of the Tiger clan with a single move. After the shock, it was anger. Brat, you dare to kill the people of my Tiger clan? You're courting death. The Tiger roared. You talk too much nonsense. Lu Ming said coldly. He clenched his fist and a long spear was formed. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Ming could not be bothered to waste his breath and attacked directly. In an instant, a few terrifying spearlights burst out and killed the few Tiger clan youths. Attack, attack together. I want him to suffer a fate worse than death. The tiger roared. Roar! Roar! The young men of the Tiger clan roared like tigers and their divine power condensed into all kinds of weapons that charged at Lu Ming. Good! Lu Ming let out a long howl and the long spear trembled. 7 changes appeared instantly and the spear's radiance was thrust out. Each of the spear's radiance contains 7 levels of power. These Tiger Men youths could not withstand it at all. Pfft! Boom! Some of them were pierced through the glabella by the spear radiance, while others were swept by the long spear and directly split open. The 20 or so Tiger Men youths were like babies in Lu Ming's hands. They could not even withstand a single blow. Not all of these people controlled ordinary divine power. There were a few who controlled king-grade divine power. It was a pity that his understanding of the incomplete divine skill was so that it could not even withstand a single blow from Lu Ming. The Tiger Men tribe had many experts. Other than peerless geniuses like Huya, there were also some other top experts. For example, Tiger Bone, one of the top 3 masters in the Dongqing area, was one of them. If Lu Ming stayed here, he might collide with the Tiger Bones. In the next few days, the Tigermen tribe did not appear. On the other hand, Lu Ming's cultivation attracted the attention of some other experts who wanted to kill him. However, they were all killed by Lu Ming. Lu Ming's ranking had increased a little. He was close to the 200th place. For 9 consecutive days, Lu Ming had attracted more than 10 young men and they all died at his hands. Lu Ming's reputation spread like this. In the Dongqing area district, everyone placed Lu Ming on the same level as the other 3 top experts. The news of Lu Ming's battle with the Tigermen tribe spread and attracted many people to watch. There were many young experts hiding in the hidden corners of some buildings in the area. They were looking at Lu Ming from afar. They were waiting for an opportunity. If Lu Ming really fought with the Tigermen tribe and both sides were injured, they would have a chance. A person like Lu Ming must have a shocking number of points. If they could kill Lu Ming, their points would skyrocket. Many people had this thought and hid in the dark. On the 11th day, Lu Ming was sitting cross-legged in the middle of the street, meditating on the incomplete divine skill with his eyes closed. At that moment, he suddenly opened his eyes. In front of him, a figure was leaping from house to house at an astonishing speed. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of Lu Ming. Buzz! 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 With a flash, more than 30 young men from the Tiger tribe appeared on the street in front of Lu Ming. Lu Ming could see at a glance that one of them was Hu Mao. At that moment, Hu Mao was looking at Lu Ming with a face full of hatred. Tiger Bone, it's him. It's this B.A.S.T.R.D. who killed more than 20 of our tiger men and even threatened to wait here. The tiger pointed at Lu Ming and roared. Bang! In front of the tiger fur, a young man with an especially burly figure stepped out. This person was one of the top 3 experts in the Dongqing area, Tiger Bone. He was also one of the top 10 heaven's favorites in the Tiger clan. You are Lu Ming. You're really gutsy, daring to wait for us here. Tiger Bone said coldly. Someone's giving you free points, why not wait? Lu Ming asked. Chapter 2635 Annihilating the Tigermen Tribe, Free Points. Ha ha ha. Hugu laughed out loud. After a few more laughs, his smile suddenly disappeared and he stared at Lu Ming with a cold gaze. During this period of time, some people have placed you on the same level as me and called you the 4th top expert in the Dongqing area. I'd like to see what you're capable of. After saying that, Tiger Bone stepped out. Bang! Bang! Every step he took caused the ground to rumble. Tiger Bone's body also swelled up and became extremely majestic. A halberd was formed in his hand with divine power. It was as tall as a person. Kill! Tiger Bone roared and his aura rose higher and higher. He continued to take steps and raised his aura to the maximum. Buzz! The halberd suddenly slashed down at Lu Ming with a thunderous momentum. Buzz! Lu Ming was also very direct. He swept his long spear out. The long spear and the halberd met in midair, and a shocking boom rang out. Boom! 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 A terrifying power burst out from Tiger Bone's battle axe, which seemed to be able to split the mountains and the earth. This was the explosive power of an incomplete divine skill. However, Lu Ming's long spear burst out with 7 layers of power at the same time. The 7 layers of power overlapped and each layer was stronger than the previous. 7 layers of power gushed out, instantly crushing the power of the Tiger Bone halberd, and rushed towards the other party. Tiger Bone's expression changed drastically. He was forced to retreat more than 10 steps before he could stabilize himself. Your incomplete divine skill has already reached the 3rd level. How is that possible? Tiger Bone roared in shock. Just now, Lu Ming did not use all of his power of domination. He had used an incomplete divine skill. He had used the 3rd stage of his incomplete divine skill to defeat his opponent in one fell swoop. What? The 3rd level, how is it possible? How could he have cultivated an incomplete divine skill to the 3rd level? How long has it been? I've only cultivated to the 1st stage not long ago. Me too. Tiger Bone's words caused the other Tiger Men youths to be extremely shocked. Although the difficulty of cultivating an incomplete divine skill was not as high as a complete divine skill, it was already very difficult for people at their level. Out of the 1 million people, a portion of them had not even reached the beginner level. They had not even cultivated to the 1st level. A large portion of them, even though they had learned the rudiments, were only at the 1st level. For example, Tiger Bone had cultivated the incomplete divine skill to the 2nd level. With his king-grade divine power, he had become one of the top 3 experts in the Dongqing area. At this moment, the Heaven's favorites who were hiding in the surrounding buildings were also scared out of their wits. Their eyes were wide open. It was a complete Ma. S. Saker, a one-sided Ma. S. Saker. At first, many people wanted to wait for Lu Ming and the Tiger Men race to suffer heavy losses so that they could take advantage of the situation. However, they were now filled with fear. Pick up a bargain. Lu Ming did not consume much energy. They did not even dare to breathe loudly. They held their breaths for fear of being discovered by Lu Ming. So many points. At this moment, the badge on his chest was sending out a series of notifications. His points had skyrocketed, and his ranking had also risen. Now, his ranking had directly rushed up to the 51st place in the 20th region. I've finally returned to the top 100. Lu Ming smiled. Meanwhile, in Wanling City, the people of the chaotic astral river were also shocked. Look, Lu Ming's ranking is soaring. So fast, 137, 129, 98, 67, they gasped when they saw Lu Ming's ranking rising. In the end, Lu Ming's ranking was set at 51st place. 51st place. That's amazing. I never expected that Lu Ming would actually charge into the 51st place in the 20th region. As long as he maintains this ranking, he will definitely enter the top 100. That's right. I didn't expect so many geniuses to appear in the righteous heavenly army this time. This is too shocking. There was a lot of discussion around. The leaders of these forces looked at the ancestor of technique with envy. Kang Ji and Situ Haonan's faces were as ugly as they could be. The 20th region. Lu Ming was about to leave when he suddenly looked to his left. There was a black-robed young man with a pair of wings on his back. This was a winged man. The wings on his back flapped and he floated in the air, floating toward Lu Ming. One should know that one couldn't fly in this place, but this person was floating in the air with his wings. It's Deng Yu. It's Deng Yu, that's right, it's him. This battle has actually attracted Deng Yu. And NBSP, the people in hiding all around took in cold breaths. Chapter 2636 Decisive battle with Deng Yu. The city they were in was extremely huge, like a small world. It was divided into 4 urban areas, north, south, east, and west. There were a few top experts in each urban area. However, there was an expert in the north, south, east, and west who was publicly acknowledged as the #1 expert. That person was Deng Yu. He was the #1 expert in this city, a top genius. At least, in this city, no one could match him. He had earned his reputation by killing. And now, Deng Yu had appeared. Could it be that he wanted to fight Lu Ming? Many people revealed looks of antic. 1. Asian. Lu Ming's abilities were also extremely shocking. Tiger Bone, one of the top experts in the Dongqing area, was completely crushed by Lu Ming. They really wanted to know who was stronger, Lu Ming or Deng Yu. You are very strong. I didn't expect that this city would have an expert like you. Deng Yu stopped and landed on a house. He looked at Lu Ming. Deng Yu? Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. He had heard the human youth mention it before, and now that he saw Deng Yu, he immediately thought of it. Not bad. Deng Yu nodded. He looked at Lu Ming with a strong fighting spirit in his eyes. I was planning to go to other cities and challenge experts, but it seems that there's no need for that now. The battle intent in Deng Ye's eyes grew stronger as he spoke. You want to fight, that's exactly what I want. Lu Ming also revealed his fighting spirit. No, you and I have a battle, but not now. Deng Yu shook his head. Not now. Lu Ming was puzzled. To be honest, you're very strong. I can't see through you at all. I don't have the confidence to fight you. Perhaps I will die in your hands. I don't have enough points now. If I lose half of my points, I'm not sure if I can make it into the top 100. So, how about we have a battle? When the 3-month deadline is almost up, we'll fight here. How about it? To be honest, you're very strong. I can't see through you at all. I don't have the confidence to fight you. Perhaps I will die in your hands. I don't have enough points now. If I lose half of my points, I'm not sure if I can make it into the top 100. So, how about we have a battle? When the 3-month deadline is almost up, we'll fight here. How about it? Deng Yu said. All right. Lu Ming did not hesitate and nodded in agreement. He understood Deng Ye's thoughts. If he was killed by Lu Ming now, his points would be reduced by half. He was not confident that he could steadily enter the top 100. Therefore, during this period of time, he would go and obtain more points. When he had enough points, even if his points were halved, he could still firmly enter the top 100. There were a total of 36 swords, and their sword Qi soared into the sky. Fight! A long spear appeared in Lu Ming's palm. Bang! Lu Ming took a step forward and charged toward Deng Yu as one with his spear. Go! Deng Yu waved his hand. 36 combat swords formed a strange combination and continuously stabbed at Lu Ming. Boom! 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 Lu Ming's long spear and Deng Ye's combat sword kept colliding with each other, and the force was overflowing. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had exchanged dozens of moves. This Deng Yu is not weak. Lu Ming thought to himself. He could sense Deng Ye's overall combat strength as soon as they exchanged blows. The divine power that Deng Yu controlled was also king grade divine power, but it was much stronger than the average king grade divine power. Shen power of the same level also had differences in strength. Some of them were very different in power. For example, Tong Shi, and Kang Long both controlled king grade divine power, but Tong Shi king grade divine power was stronger than Kang Long's by a level. This Deng Yu was also the same. His king grade divine power was not weaker than Tong Shi's, and was even stronger. Moreover, his incomplete divine skill had also reached the peak of the second stage. His battle sense was also very strong. In terms of overall combat strength, he was much stronger than Tiger Bone. No wonder he could become the #1 expert in this city. Amazing, amazing, again. After exchanging dozens of moves, the fighting spirit in Deng Ye's eyes grew stronger and stronger. He waved his hands and sword light surged. 36 combat swords continuously rushed toward Lu Ming. Each attack was shockingly powerful and unpredictable. It seems like I need to increase the power of the ruler's power. Lu Ming smiled faintly. And NBSP, when he had fought with others before, he had not used all of his ruler power. What he had used had only been the power of ordinary divine power. At this moment, he had used his power of domination to unleash a power equivalent to king-grade divine power. Instantly, his combat strength increased by a notch. The spear's radiance surged and swept away Deng Ye's sword radiance. Let's end this. Lu Ming muttered. The long spear trembled and turned into a flash of spear radiance as fast as lightning. It was like a fairy from beyond the heavens, shattering the void. Whoosh! The spear radiance burst forth with 7 layers of energy, and the remaining sword radiance of Deng Yu was completely destroyed. In the next moment, the spear radiance pierced through Deng Ye's chest. Deng Ye's body stiffened in the air. Amazing, amazing. Am completely convinced of my defeat. Deng Yu smiled. Then, his body turned into energy and disappeared with a bang. Chapter 2637 Biggest Winner Lu Ming vs Deng Yu. Lu Ming won. This Deng Yu has such a shocking number of points. After killing Deng Yu, Lu Ming's points skyrocketed and his ranking rose again. Initially, Lu Ming's ranking was 39th in the 20th district. After killing Deng Yu, his ranking rose to 17th in the 20th district. After all, there were more than 50,000 people in the 20th district and 18 megacities. Some people fought almost non-stop, so it was normal to have more points than him. Terrifying, he's really terrifying. Even Deng Yu isn't his match. My God. This person's battle strength is truly astonishing. I never thought that the chaotic astral river would actually produce such a person. I think that with his strength, he can probably charge into the top 100 of the overall ranking. It's very likely. We'll have to see his battles with his other opponents in the second round of the A.S. assessment. And NBSP. The people watching from all around were shocked to the extreme, unable to calm down. Deng Yu was publicly acknowledged as the most powerful person in this city. However, he was killed by Lu Ming in the end. At this moment, in Wanling City, the people of the chaotic astral river were already in an uproar. Lu Ming's ranking has risen again. He has risen again, he's actually reached the 17th place in the 20th zone. This is too shocking. Amazing, amazing, amazing. This time, the righteous heavenly army is amazing. Many people sighed with emotion. There was less than a day left before the first round of the A.S. assessment was about to end. This time, there were a total of 5 people from the righteous army, and they were ranked in the top 100 in their respective regions. Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan were in their respective zones, from 70th to 80th. Are the two of them hiding their strength? The ancestor of technique muttered. He knew about Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjin's talents. Both of them had mastered the divine power. To be able to control the divine grade divine power as soon as she broke through to the martial god realm, her comprehension ability was definitely not low. However, under normal circumstances, their ranking would not be so low. Then there was only one possibility. They were hiding their strength. Seeing that they were about to advance, they stopped. On the other hand, Tong Shi, and Dandan were ranked higher. Tong Shi, was ranked 53rd in her region. Dandan, ranked 36th. In addition to Lu Ming and the Righteous Sky Army, there were a total of 5 people who made it into the top 100 of their respective zones. Even the Yunfeng Pavilion Master would be envious of such a result. After all, only 3 people from the Yunfeng Pavilion had made it into the top 100 of their respective regions. As for Kang Ji and Situ Haonan, they were so jealous that they were about to go crazy. How did this happen? The heavens are unfair. The two of them roared in their hearts. Previously, someone said that Lu Ming relied on luck and would definitely be killed later on. What about now? Fa Ming's voice was filled with ridicule as he looked towards Situ Haonan and Kang Ji. The two of them were so angry that their lungs were about to explode. At the same time, they started to panic. There were so many heaven's favorites in the righteous army, especially Lu Ming. He actually made it to the 17th place in Zone 20. With such talent, if they all joined the Qin Tian 13 clans, the Origin Luo Palace and the Walkabout sect would not have any good days. The only thing they were happy about was that Situ Feng's ranking was not low either. In his region, he was ranked 26th, it's still too early to talk about this. Let's see who will be able to join the 3 overlord forces in the second round. Situ Haonan gritted his teeth and said. There was less than a day's time until the end of this round of A.S. assessment. On the last day, the Ma.S. Saker in the 20 regions became even more frenzied. That was because once they entered the top 100 of their respective regions, it was almost certain that they would be able to join the Qin Heaven 13 clans. However, once they were eliminated, it would be a different story. They would not be able to make their own choices. Furthermore, even if one didn't enter the top 100, as long as one's points were high, the chances of being selected by the Qin Heaven 13 clans would be higher. Therefore, everyone went crazy. Crazy killing, crazy killing. My ranking is 103. As long as I kill him, I can enter the top 100. In the third region, a young Tauran was madly charging at his opponent. In the sixth region, a young man was madly chasing after another young man. However, the other party was running away madly, causing the young man to roar madly. Just a little more. He was just a little bit away, but the other party would not let him kill him so easily. For a moment, he could not catch up with the other party and was extremely anxious. Crazy. Everyone's eyes were red as they madly fought. This was related to their future and their destiny. It would be strange if they weren't crazy. In the 20 regions, in the cities, crazy killing was happening everywhere. However, there were some people who no one dared to provoke. Once they saw them, their expressions changed drastically and they immediately fled. For example, Golden Saint, Huya, Yang Chong, Ling Huyi, and others. They were all the kings of their respective regions, and they were ranked first. In the 20th zone, where Lu Ming and Deng Yu had fought, Lu Ming did not leave. He sat cross-legged and comprehended the incomplete divine skill, waiting for the time to come. However, none of them dared to provoke Lu Ming. They did not even dare to get too close to him. Although everyone knew that Lu Ming had a shocking number of points, who would dare to have any ideas about him? Unless he didn't want to live anymore. Time said by quickly. When the 3 months were up, his body seemed to be pulled by a force, and he turned into a rainbow light and disappeared. The next moment, Lu Ming realized that his spiritual will had returned to his body. They were still in one of the rooms in the inn. At the same time, Xian Yanqing, Xian Yanjuan, Tong Shi, and Dandan had also woken up. The jade talismans above their heads glowed, and words appeared on them. Everyone's points and ranking could be clearly seen. With a glance, everything was clear. Little Qing and Xian Yanjuan, Lu Ming was slightly surprised. Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjun's ranking was slightly low. Perhaps they're hiding their strength. Lu Ming thought to himself. At this moment, the rankings on the 20 huge screens had been completely fixed. This time, a total of 15 people from the chaotic astral river have entered the top 100 of their respective regions. The righteous army became the biggest winner, with 5 people. Even the Yunfeng pavilion only had 3 people. As for Situ Feng, Situ Shao, Kang Long, and the others, only Situ Feng had made it into the top 100. Quick, record down the top rankings of your respective regions. It'll be best if you can get into the top 5,000. The top 10,000 of each region can be recorded. These are the geniuses ACCU, Mulat in the entire Qin Tian starfield over 1,000 years. At this moment, many people began to record the rankings on the screen. These people came from some of the smaller factions in the Qin Heaven starfield. In the Qin Heaven star zone, other than the Qin Heavenly 13 clans, there were many other small powers. Their strength was far inferior to the Qin Heavenly 13 clans, but compared to powers like the Yunfeng Pavilion, they were still much stronger. These forces knew that those who were ranked higher would definitely not join them. Hence, they targeted those who were ranked slightly lower. These people might not catch the attention of the Qin Heaven 13 clans, but they did. Chapter 2638 Purchasing Secret Techniques. This was like Taobao. Those that were ranked lower might not necessarily have no gold. In history, such a situation had also occurred. Some people's performance during the test was average and weren't selected by the Qin Heavenly 13 clans. Instead, they joined a small power. However, later on, there were some who soared to the heavens and rose up against the heavens. They became heavenly deities, god kings, and even became the top experts of the Qin Heaven star region. Once they found such gold, that small power would make a fortune. Many geniuses who weren't chosen by the Qin Heavenly 13 clans would join these small factions. Compared to the Qin Heavenly 13 clans, these small powers were undoubtedly Leviathan powers. Some forces had god kings holding down the fort. After a while, the 20 screens in the sky disappeared. Instead, it was replaced by lines of words. At that moment, a message popped up in the jade talismans of Lu Ming and the rest. It was the information and rules of the second round of A.S. assessment. Everyone looked at it carefully. The rules of the second round of the A.S. assessment were also in the Dream S.P.C.E. Furthermore, just like the first round, everyone's cultivation was suppressed to the first level of the Void God realm. In the Dream S.P.C.E., they could only use the incomplete divine skills they had comprehended. Moreover, the second round was a one-on-one battle on the arena. The top 100 in each of the 20 regions, a total of 2,000 people, would fight in pairs. However, the premise was that they had a month of rest. A month later, they would enter the Forest of Stone Steels where they had comprehended the incomplete divine skill last time and comprehend it again. This time, it would be 2 years. The second round would only begin 2 years later. It was obvious that this was to further widen the gap between those with talent and comprehension. The Qin Heaven 13 clans were only interested in their comprehension and talent. During the process of the arena battles, experts from the Qin Heavenly 13 clans would descend and observe their battles. If they were satisfied, they would even take the initiative to invite them. What was different from the first round was that during the 2 years they were comprehending the incomplete divine skill, they could exit at any time and could also enter at any time, so they had much more freedom. There's still a month of maintenance. Shall we go out for a walk? Lu Ming said with a smile. Everyone naturally agreed. Everyone walked out of the inn and strolled on the streets. At the same time, they were on Myriad Spirit Planet, the largest commercial planet in the Qin Heaven Star Zone. Lu Ming had a few other goals. Back then, he had obtained some divine pills in the deity's cave abode on the northern Shang planet. He wanted to find some books that introduced divine pills and identify them. In addition, he had quite a few divine artifacts on hand. He planned to sell some of them and then buy a batch of divine artifact fragments for Qiuqiu to eat. As Qiuqiu's level increased, his requirements for divine artifact fragments also became higher and higher. The low-level divine artifact fragments were becoming less and less useful to it. He needed to buy some high-level divine artifact fragments. Besides, Lu Ming also wanted to see if he could find any secret skills that could conceal the power of domination so that others would not be able to recognize it easily. You guys go ahead, I still have things to do, so I'll be leaving first. After strolling around for a while, Xian Yanjuan spoke and left from another street. Lu Ming and the rest did not think too much about it. Xian Yanjuan had always been mysterious. They continued to stroll around, and not long after, they arrived at a bustling area. This area was filled with shops. This was the Qin Heaven Star region's largest business star. Caravans from the various galaxies of the Qin Heaven Star region truly had everything. The crowd was dazzled. Some of the treasures made them envious, but they were shockingly expensive. Even some true gods and heavenly gods couldn't afford them, let alone them. They strolled around for a while and came to a shop selling divine artifacts. Lu Ming sold a few level 7 low-grade divine artifacts and level 8 low-grade divine artifacts, then exchanged them for some divine artifact fragments of the same level. After that, they went to some shops that sold divine skills and secret techniques. So many divine skills and some secret skills. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. Tong Shi-er's eyes were shining. On the other hand, Xian Nianking's expression was calm. At a glance, he saw at least a few hundred divine skills. Attack type, speed type, and defense type. However, the high price made them gasp. In addition, there were even secret techniques. Secret techniques were different from divine skills. Secret skills were usually even rarer. They were used for auxiliary purposes. Some could be used to assist in attack, speed, alchemy, weapon refinement, and so on. Lu Ming looked at them one by one. Of course, there was no real copy here. It was just an introduction. Only when they took a fancy to it and wanted to buy it would the shop owner take out the real book. What a mystical secret technique. Lu Ming realized that some secret skills could increase one's combat strength in a short period of time, just like the battle formula. However, unlike the battle formula, there were no side effects. These secret skills usually had side effects. Some could increase one's speed, while some required special cultivation methods to increase one's combat strength. However, the price was usually astonishingly high. Given Lu Ming's current status, he could not afford it. Soul transformation. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up when he saw a secret skill. The soul transformation technique could change the aura, color, and level of divine power. The introduction was very simple, but it was suitable for Lu Ming. However, the price tag was 100,000 divine crystals. Lu Ming frowned. 100,000 divine gems was a very low price compared to other secret skills, but it was not a small amount. Sir, do you need this secret skill? A shop assistant asked Lu Ming. Can the price of this soul transformation technique be a little cheaper? Lu Ming said. Cheaper? I can't make this decision, I need to ask the manager. Wait a moment, I'll go ask the manager. The shopkeeper said politely and left in a hurry. After a while, the palace came back with a middle-aged man. Sir, you need this soul formation technique. How about this? I'll sell it to you for 80,000 divine crystals. Let's be friends. The shopkeeper said with a smile. 80,000 divine crystals is too expensive. I'll buy it for 50,000 divine crystals. Lu Ming said. 50,000, sir. I'm afraid that's not possible. It's too cheap. The shopkeeper shook his head. Shopkeeper, I think you know that the soul-changing technique is not very useful for most people. No matter how long you stay here, I'm afraid no one will buy it. 50,000 divine crystals is enough. Lu Ming shook his head casually, looking as if he did not care. Indeed, this divine transformation spell was completely different from the divine breath spell that Lu Ming had obtained in the past. The divine breath technique could change one's aura as if he was a different person. However, Lu Ming's cultivation level was too high now and the divine breath technique was no longer useful. The Soul Hing spell could only change the aura, level, color, and so on of the divine power. But why would an ordinary person change their divine power level? Chapter 2639 Identifying Divine Pills. The soul transformation spell could only disguise high-level divine power as low-level divine power. It could not disguise low-level divine power as high-level divine power. Why would a normal person who controlled king-grade Shen power disguise their Shen power as normal Shen power? Normal people would wish that their Shen power level was higher. Only a small number of people who controlled sacred grade divine power or divine grade divine power would disguise their divine power as low-level divine power in order to not attract attention. However, such people were too rare. Therefore, as Lu Ming had said, a secret skill like the soul transformation technique was of little value. No one would buy it. The shopkeeper's expression changed. He knew that Lu Ming had a point. 50,000 divine crystals. Any more and I won't take it. I'm just curious. Lu Ming shook his head and was about to turn around and leave. Wait a minute, customer. 50,000 it is. I'll sell it to you. The shopkeeper quickly called out to Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled. He took out 50,000 divine crystals and handed it to the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper then went into the depths of the shop and returned with a jade card for Lu Ming. Lu Ming took it and scanned it with his spiritual senses. It was the secret skill of the divine transformation technique. It's done. Lu Ming was overjoyed. After putting them away, they walked out of the shop and walked around for a while. Xian Yanqing, Tong Shi, Dandan, and the others each bought some things they needed. As for Lu Ming, he bought a few books that introduced some divine pills and returned to the inn. After returning to the inn, Lu Ming took out a book that introduced divine pills and read it carefully. Xian Yanjuan walked around alone. Soon, she came to a tall building. The experienced ones could tell that this was a famous place on planet Thousand Spirits for gathering information. It was opened by a terrifying force that had power spread across more than half of the primal universe. One could buy a lot of information here. Xian Yanjuan walked in and was immediately welcomed. "Miss, how may I help you?" a young woman asked. "I want to get some information," Xian Yanjuan said. "Excuse me, is it news from the Qin Heaven starfield or from other starfields?" the young woman asked. "Other star fields," Xian Yanjuan. "Those from the other star fields, please follow me." The young lady led Xian Yanjuan into a room. Half an hour later, Xian Yanqing frowned and left the building. A storm was brewing on planet Myriad Spirit. Some of the smaller forces had already started to meet up with some of the heaven's favorites who were not at the top of the rankings, hoping to win them over. In. Damn it, damn it. Those BASTRDS from the righteous heaven army actually managed to get into the top 100. Damn it. Kong Long roared, his eyes filled with jealousy. Beside him, Situ Xiao was in a similar state. This time, there were actually 5 people from the righteous heaven army who had entered the top 100 of their respective regions, which was far beyond their expectations. As for Kong Long and Situ Xiao, they didn't make it into the top 100 of their respective regions. Now, if they wanted to join the Qin Heaven 13 clans, it would be a mystery and would depend on luck. Don't worry. As long as I join a sect, I'll definitely recommend you to join together, Situ Feng said indifferently. Many thanks, big brother. Situ Xiao was all smiles. Many thanks, brother Situ. Kong Long thanked him profusely. This time, it was fortunate that he had Situ Feng. Not only had Situ Feng entered the top 100 in his region, but his ranking wasn't low either. Entering the Qin Heaven 13 clans was a matter of course. Feng, you have to perform well in the second round. The better you perform, the more you will be valued by the Qin Heaven 13 clans. After you join, the treatment you will receive will also be better, Situ Haonan warned. I know. Situ Feng nodded, and his eyes were filled with a strong desire to fight. This time, he wants to amaze the world with a single brilliant feat and leave the chaotic astral river. The Qintian galaxy and even the desolate universe were his stage. On a mountain to the north of Wanling City. This was the gathering place of the Tigermen. At this moment, a roar came from the mountain. Hu Mao, and you, Hu Gu, with your talent, you actually didn't enter the top 100 of the 20th region. What's going on? Hu Ya's gaze was like lightning as he swept towards Hu Mao, Hu Gu, and the others. Tiger fur, tiger bones, usually very impressive, but in front of Hu Ya, it was like a mouse seeing a cat. Being swept by Hu Ya's gaze, he shivered. It's all that brat's fault. That B.A.S.T.R.D. from the chaotic astral river, Hu Mao gritted his teeth and told him about Lu Ming. Chaotic astral river. I didn't expect that a mere chaotic astral river would have such a genius. However, no matter who it is, he must be punished for killing a member of my tiger clan, don't worry. Don't let me meet him in the second round. Otherwise, I'll make sure he dies a horrible death. Hu Ya said coldly. If it were not for the rule that one was not allowed to lay a hand on other partic. 1 ants during the A.S. assessment period, he would have mobilized his power to find Lu Ming and kill him. Time flew by and 3 days passed, said. Lu Ming had already finished reading the few books that introduced divine pills. He had also roughly matched the divine pills he had obtained from the god's cave abode. The pills in the deity's cave abode were not of a high grade. Otherwise, the deity would not have left them there. There were healing medicinal pills, antidotes, and cultivation-enhancing medicinal pills. Among them, Lu Ming was most interested in 2 types of pills. One was the congealing divine pill. One was the spirit-strengthening pill. The congealing divine elixir could speed up the convergence of 10,000 yuan, allowing the transformation void martial stage to step into the demigod realm faster. This was exactly what Lu Ming needed now. There was also the spirit strengthening pill, which was extremely helpful to those in the void god realm. After a virtual god consumed it, they could condense and increase their divine power, break through to a higher realm, and greatly speed up their cultivation. Among them, there were 2 bottles of congealing divine elixir, with a total of 18 pills. There were a total of 6 bottles of spirit strengthening pills, which contained 54 pills. Lu Ming gave Xian Yanqing, Xian Yanjuan, and Tong Shi a bottle of spirit strengthening pills each. This way, they could speed up their cultivation. He kept 2 bottles for himself. Crack! Crack! At the side, Qiu was hugging a piece of magical fragment and eating it with great joy. Lu Ming smiled and took out a few more pieces of the divine artifact fragments and threw them to Qiu. He took out a congealing divine pill and swallowed it before he started cultivating. The 1-month period was up in the blink of an eye. On this day, the jade token shone again and brought them into the dream SPCE. It was still the same stone steel forest from last time. On it, there were all kinds of different incomplete divine skills. This time, they had 2 years to comprehend it. Roar! Roar! On the other side of the steel forest, the roars of beasts could be heard. This time, it was a little different from the last time. And NBSP this time, the dream dimension had opened up a training ground filled with countless desolate beasts, allowing everyone to enter. This way, it would be of great help in comprehending and cultivating incomplete divine skills. Chapter 2640, Hu Ya's provocation. They didn't act immediately, but looked at each other. There were a total of 2,000 people, and they might all be compet. 1 tours in 2 years. Lu Ming suddenly felt a few powerful auras pressing down on him. He turned around and saw a few figures walking toward Lu Ming. The Tiger Men. Lu Ming could tell at a glance that these people were from the Tiger clan. The young man in the lead was tall and strong. He was even taller than the tiger bone and had a domineering aura. You are Lu Ming. A few young men from the Tiger tribe stopped in front of Lu Ming. The young man in the lead spoke coldly. Not bad. Lu Ming responded. Very good. In the 20th region, you killed many of my Tiger tribe's experts. You'd better not meet me in the 2nd round. Otherwise, I'll make you die a miserable death. The Tiger Men youth in the lead said ferociously as killing intent burst out from his eyes. This brat from the chaotic astral river has actually offended the Tiger Man tribe. He's finished. Now that Hu Ya has his eyes on him, I'm afraid he won't have an easy time in the 2nd round. At the side, some people were discussing in low voices. Hu Ya, you're really becoming more and more useless. You've actually set your eyes on a person from the chaotic astral river. Your opponent is me. Hu Ya. At this time, a rough voice sounded. A young man who was even stronger than Hu Ya stepped out, and his powerful aura pressed down on Hu Ya. Golden Sage, it's the Golden Sage. Some people recognized this young man. He was as famous as Hu Ya and was also a top genius who had mastered sacred grade divine power. Golden Sage, you and I will have a battle one day. This time, the first place will belong to me. Hu Ya sneered. What a joke. You think you can get first place? The first place is mine. The Golden Saint faced off, and their auras collided. Divine power spread out from their bodies, and a terrifying sharpness flowed out. The two of you are really narcissistic to the extreme. Do you think you're worthy of the first place? At this moment, a young man stepped out and formed a horn with Golden Saint and Hu Ya. Yang Chong. He was another existence who controlled the divine power. Golden Saint and Hu Ya's eyes turned serious. This test tests talent, comprehension, and combat experience. It's not about having a high Shen power level that you can get first. A cold voice sounded. A young man from the human-snake hybrid clan stepped out and joined the confrontation. That's right. A high level of Shen power does not necessarily mean a high achievement in the future. As long as you have divine skills and wondrous methods, there are many who can catch up from behind. Another young man walked out. Bang! Bang! Following that, powerful auras burst forth as more and more young heaven's favorites joined in the fight. There were more than 10 of them. Amazing! They're all ranked first in their respective regions. Someone exclaimed. These young men who had joined the confrontation were all ranked first in their respective regions in the first round. Each of them was full of confidence, arrogant, and conceited, not weaker than anyone else. Not only these people, but also the second and third ranked people in their respective regions were full of confidence. In the first round, the one with the highest points was not the strongest. Sometimes, luck was also needed. Some people with low points did not mean they were not strong. These people were also full of fighting spirit and wanted to compete with the Golden Sage, Huya, and the others. Lu Ming smiled casually and took a few steps back. He could not be bothered to fight with these people. It was useless to say anything now. He would naturally know when they fought 2 years later. Then let's have a battle 2 years later. Huya said coldly. Then, he glanced at Lu Ming coldly. In a flash, he led the geniuses of the Tiger Clan and charged into the forest of stone steels. Then, Golden Sage and the others also rushed into the stone steel forest and disappeared. Buzz! 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 After that, the others flashed and rushed toward the steel forest. This time, there were only 2,000 people, and they looked R.S.E. In the blink of an eye, they entered the forest of stone steels. However, different people had different choices. Some people rushed into the stone steel forest to find new and incomplete divine skills to cultivate. For example, most people would choose an incomplete speed divine skill or an incomplete defense divine skill. When combined with an incomplete attack divine skill, the power would definitely be stronger. However, in this way, comprehending several incomplete divine skills at the same time was bound to divide a lot of energy. And some people directly said through the forest of stone steels and rushed into the other side of the forest of stone steels. They entered the training ground, looked for desolate beasts to kill, and focused on cultivating an incomplete divine skill. As long as one cultivated an incomplete divine skill to an extremely high realm, its power would similarly be extremely shocking. Everyone had their own choices. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and the rest split up. Lu Ming wandered around the stone tablet forest. Lu Ming also planned to choose an incomplete divine skill to cultivate. His comprehension was high enough, and choosing one more was the best way. Not long after, Lu Ming chose an incomplete speed-type divine skill. This incomplete divine skill actually had a name. ROC Wing Technique. He had comprehended the great ROC's flight and had evolved it. Once he used it, it was as if the great ROC had spread its wings, and his speed was astonishing. Similarly, this incomplete divine skill was divided into 7 levels. Lu Ming began to study it carefully. After more than a month, Lu Ming finally got the hang of it. Lu Ming did not continue to cultivate after he entered the sect. He said through the forest of stone steels and came to the other side. He wanted to enter the training ground and find desolate beasts to kill. This way, his cultivation speed would be the fastest. On the other side of the steel forest, there were 72 huge caves that led to different training grounds. The last time they entered this place, there were no Void Realm experts. This was the first time they had seen them. Lu Ming walked into a cave at random. After sing through the cave, a boundless plain appeared in front of him. Roar! Roar! On the plain, the roars were like thunder, and one could see many huge desolate beasts wandering around. Some of the desolate beasts were already fighting with some young men. ROC Wing Technique. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He used his ruler's power to activate the ROC Wing Technique. A pair of invisible wings seemed to have appeared on his back, causing his speed to increase explosively as he charged toward the plane. Roar. Not long after, a wild beast that looked like a lion and was 10 meters tall pounced at Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not fight back. He cast the ROC wings technique and dodged the wild beast's attack. He went around the wild beast and went deep into the plain. Along the way, desolate beasts attacked Lu Ming continuously. He dodged them with the ROC wing technique. This way, he could also practice the ROC wing technique. Lu Ming did not know how deep he had gone. At this point, he could not see any other young talents. At this moment, Lu Ming finally stopped. Roar! Roar! All of a sudden, a few dire beasts pounced at Lu Ming. These wild beasts weren't very strong. Some of them were equivalent to first-level Void God Realm, some were second-level Void God Realm, and there were only a few third-level Void God Realm beasts. Of course, there were also those at or above the fourth level of the Void God Realm. Of course, the number was even fewer. A long spear formed in Lu Ming's palm. At the same time, he cast the ROC wing technique and charged at the wild beasts. The spear light swept across, and the roar was like thunder. The bitter cultivation had begun. With desolate beasts as training, the speed of cultivation of incomplete divine skills would be much faster. Chapter 2641 Another S.P.C.E. Time Spirit Mouse as time passed, said, Lu Ming's control over the two incomplete divine skills became deeper and deeper. 2 months later, Lu Ming's incomplete spear technique had another breakthrough and reached the 4th level. As for the ROC wing technique, he had also cultivated it to the 2nd level. It's not enough. I have to cultivate to a higher level. Lu Ming muttered. To be honest, he was still under a bit of pressure for this assessment. It would not be easy to get first place without exposing his ruler's power. The Golden Saint, Huya, and Yang Chong were all existences who could control divine-grade divine power, and their comprehension abilities were definitely not low. It would not be easy to defeat them. The main thing was that Lu Ming's cultivation level was too low. Huya and the others were all suppressed to the 1st level of the Void God Realm. Lu Ming was only a 7-star Heavenly Emperor. Since he could not use the battle formula, Lu Ming did not have much of an advantage. After all, the power of the divine power was extremely powerful. Therefore, if he wanted to defeat his opponent with a lower cultivation base, an incomplete divine skill was of utmost importance. Lu Ming continued to cultivate. Time passed day by day. One day, a figure suddenly appeared in S.P.C.E. outside Myriad Spirit Planet. This figure was a beautiful middle-aged woman. She looked to be in her 40s, but she still had her charm. She stopped in S.P.C.E. and looked at Planet Thousand Spirits. I didn't expect that there would be a member of my clan in the Qin Heaven star system. It seems that he hasn't reached adulthood yet. He should be a descendant of one of my clan members who has been stranded outside. Our race is originally small in number. Since we've encountered them, well, bring them back and nurture them well. After saying that, the beautiful middle-aged woman took a step forward. The next moment, she appeared on a street in Wanling City. Her speed was so fast that it was unbelievable. Moreover, no one on the street seemed to have noticed how the beautiful middle-aged woman had appeared. It was as if she had been there all along. Among these people, there were heavenly god-level existences. The beautiful middle-aged woman's gaze landed on an inn. This inn was the one where Lu Ming and the others were staying. The next moment, she took another step and appeared in a room. This room was Bubbles' cultivation place. Bubbles had been following Lu Ming here and was cultivating in this room. Bubbles had been cultivating with her eyes closed. Suddenly, she sensed something and opened her eyes. She saw the beautiful middle-aged woman standing in front of her, sizing her up curiously. Paoba was given a huge shock as she stood up and wanted to escape. However, she realized that she couldn't move. She was confined in the air. She has excellent talent and is a top-grade unpolished jade. If she is sculpted, she will definitely be dazzling. The beautiful middle-aged woman sized up the bubble carefully. The more she looked at it, the more satisfied she was. You. Who are you? Why do I feel so close to him? Pow Pow blinked her eyes and said. Right now, she was no longer afraid. Instead, she could feel a sense of familiarity from this beautiful middle-aged lady. You and I are of the same race, so we naturally have a sense of familiarity. The beautiful middle-aged woman smiled and then her figure changed rapidly. The next moment, S.P.C.E. Time Spirit Mouse appeared in the air. S.P.C.E. Time Spirit Mouse. The beautiful middle-aged woman was also a S.P.C.E. Time Spirit Mouse. You, Bubbles blinked her eyes hard. This was the first time she had seen other S.P.C.E. Time Spirit Rats, and she felt closer to them. Little fellow, you've probably never returned to the clan before, right? Now, I'll bring you back to the clan. That's the place you should stay. Only then can your talent truly be displayed. The beautiful middle-aged woman said as she transformed back into her human form. Return to your race with you. Paoba muttered. To be honest, she really wanted to follow the middle-aged woman to the S.P.C.E. Time Spirit Rat clan and meet other members of the same clan. However, she could not bear to part with Lu Ming. I want to say goodbye to brother Lu Ming before I can leave with you. Finally, Bubbles gritted her teeth. Although she could not bear to part with Lu Ming, she realized that her current cultivation level was too low. She could not help Lu Ming at all. Even Dandan's cultivation level had surpassed hers. Therefore, she decided to return to the clan with the middle-aged woman first to improve her strength before coming out. Farewell, that's easy. The beautiful middle-aged woman revealed a happy expression and swept her gaze over the crowd. There's a World Divine Turtle here. My clan and the World Divine Turtle have a deep relationship. Why don't we bring this World Divine Turtle to the World Divine Turtle clan? The beautiful middle-aged woman muttered. Then, she waved her hand and brought Bubbles to Dandan's room. At this moment, a jade card was floating above Dandan's head, and she was cultivating an incomplete divine skill in the dream S.P.C.E. Wake up. The beautiful middle-aged woman said. The light on the jade tablet above Dandan's head dimmed, and he woke up. Nest, what happened? I'm cultivating right now. As soon as Dandan woke up, she let out a strange cry, and then immediately saw the middle-aged beautiful woman. The moment he saw the middle-aged lady, Dandan's hair stood on end. He wanted to retreat immediately but, just like Bubbles, he realized that he could not move at all. Dandan, it's like this is a senior of my clan, Bubbles introduced the beautiful middle-aged lady. It turns out to be a senior of the S.P.C.E. Time Spirit Rat clan. Dandan's heart moved. Little guy, you're not young anymore. You must have learned a lot from your bloodline inheritance. In the primeval universe, the World Turtle and the S.P.C.E. Time Spirit Rat are quite related. Are you willing to come with me? I'll take you back to the World Turtle clan. The beautiful middle-aged woman said. I'm willing, of course I'm willing. No, I'm 10,000 times willing to do it. Dandan immediately agreed and nodded quickly. How could he not be willing? As long as he could return to the Divine Turtle clan of the world, he would be able to improve even faster. Why would he need to join the Qin Heavenly 13 clans? Dandan, I want to say goodbye to brother Lu Ming. Pow Pow said. That's good. Say goodbye to that guy. Dandan nodded. Then, the middle-aged lady brought the two of them to Lu Ming's room. A voice was heard, and Lu Ming woke up. What's going on? Lu Ming was also a little dumbfounded. He was fighting with the dire beasts and suddenly left the dream S.P.C.E. You are. At the sight of the middle-aged lady, Lu Ming's eyes narrowed as thoughts ran through his mind. Could it be that this person had asked him to leave the dream S.P.C.E.? Brother Lu Ming, this is a senior from my clan. Pow Pow pulled Lu Ming's arm and said. A senior of the S.P.C.E. Time Spirit Rat clan. Lu Ming's heart stirred. He had heard the ancestral dragon mention it before. A few of the top 10 battle beasts in the Heaven Realm were not native to the Heaven Realm, but came from the desolate universe. The World Turtle, the S.P.C.E. Time Spirit Rat, and the Saint Spirit Ant all came from the primal universe. Could it be that the person in front of him was a senior of the S.P.C.E. Time Spirit Rat clan in the primal universe? Lu Ming, it's like this. Dandan explained that they were going to return to the clan with the beautiful middle-aged woman. This is a good thing. Lu Ming smiled. He naturally would not object. Only by returning to the clan with the beautiful middle-aged woman would they have a better future. Following him would instead bury one's talent. Chapter 2642 Demigod, Brother Lu Ming, when I'm successful in my cultivation in the future, I'll definitely come back and look for you. Bubbles said, a little reluctant. She had been following Lu Ming since she was very young. Naturally, she was reluctant to part with him. Go. Cultivate well. In the future, I will visit you too. Lu Ming smiled. Although he was also a little reluctant, he also understood that separation was the best choice. Not bad, little guy. You're very talented and have a lot of opportunities. In the future, you might have a chance in the universe. The middle-aged lady sized Lu Ming up as if she could see through him. There was a hint of surprise in her eyes. Lu Ming laughed bitterly in his heart. He knew that this beautiful middle-aged woman's cultivation had probably reached an unbelievable level. His secret would most likely be seen through by her. I wonder if she has discovered the battle formula. Lu Ming thought in his heart. The word battle that Baya had once mentioned was an extremely precious treasure even in the primeval universe. Many great figures would fight to the death for it. If he was discovered by the beautiful middle-aged woman, who knew what the consequences would be. However, at this moment, Lu Ming discovered that the word battle in his sea of consciousness was shrinking rapidly. It was billions of times smaller than a speck of dust, as if it was afraid that the beautiful middle-aged woman would notice it. Fortunately, the beautiful middle-aged woman didn't seem to notice anything strange. Little fellow, you can be considered to have fate with my clan. I will give you a hand. With that, the middle-aged lady waved her hand and a stream of energy surged into Lu Ming's body. Immediately, Lu Ming felt that all the energy in his body was about to be condensed into one, reaching the point of 10,000 elements returning to one and igniting the divine fire. Many thanks, Senior. Lu Ming was grateful. He knew that the other party was helping him. See you again if we're fated to. The beautiful middle-aged woman waved her hand and the bubble disappeared with Dandan. See you again if we're fated to. Lu Ming muttered. He then sat cross-legged and began to cultivate. Boom. 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 And NBSP in his body, sovereign power surged like a river. Originally, he had also had a wisp of world energy. But now, this wisp of world power had been completely melted by the ruler's power and transformed into it. The only thing left in his meridians was the power of a god, nothing else. Initially, if Lu Ming wanted to reach this stage, he would need a period of time to polish it. He estimated that he would need at least more than 10 years. However, with the help of the beautiful middle-aged woman's power, he had broken through directly. Congealing Divine Pill. Lu Ming took out a few more congealing divine pills and swallowed them in one go. Boom. 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 With the help of the spirit congealing pill, his ruler's power started to gather in his dantian. Then, it kept on compressing. Compress, compress again. In the end, all the ruler's power gathered into a ball in his dantian and kept compressing. Hoo-hoo, and NBSP when it was compressed to its limit, the sovereign power underwent an earth-shaking transformation. On the surface of the sovereign power, a flame suddenly began to spread. In the beginning, the flame was small, but soon, the flame grew bigger and finally burned fiercely. Divine Fire. This was a divine fire formed from divine power. Lu Ming had successfully ignited the divine fire. It meant that he had entered the demigod realm. And NBSP and NBSP not long after, all of the god energy had been converted into divine fire. Lu Ming had officially entered the demigod realm. Of course, it was only a wisp of divine fire now, and the amount was not large. Next, he needed to keep strengthening the divine fire and fill his body with divine power. Then, with the help of the divine power, his body would complete a transformation and turn into a divine body. At that time, he would have stepped into the martial god realm and become a god. Let's test its power. With a single thought, Lu Ming ignited the divine fire and a thin layer of divine power spread out from his palm. Buzz! Lu Ming's palm cut through the void, making an ear-piercing sound. Divine power. The power of a god's divine power is indeed much stronger than the power of a god. Lu Ming revealed a smile. And NBSP, although he only had a wisp of divine fire in his body, this was a god's divine power that was far stronger than the god's divine power from before. Lu Ming's combat strength did not decrease. Instead, it increased by another level. Lu Ming was more confident about the second round of the assessment. After becoming a demigod, he was only one step away from first-level virtual god level. Lu Ming was confident that even if he did not unleash the full power of the ruler's divine power, he would be able to suppress everyone. He still had this bit of confidence. Next, Lu Ming swallowed a few more congealing divine pills to completely consolidate his realm. Then, he entered the Dream SPCE again to cultivate. In these 2 years, they could freely enter and exit the Dream SPCE. Time flew by, and 2 years said in a flash. Dream Realm, Trial Grounds, Plains. Roar. 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 At least a dozen 4th-tier virtual god-level wild beasts pounced at Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming's body moved like a ROC flying in the sky, easily avoiding the attacks of more than a dozen wild beasts. Then, he thrust his long spear forward, and more than a dozen spear gleams pierced toward these wild beasts. Pft! 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 In an instant, more than a dozen wild beasts that were equivalent to 4th-level void god level were all killed by Lu Ming. The ROC wing technique has reached the 6th level. As for that spear technique, it has also reached the 6th level. Lu Ming smiled. This was what he had gained in the past 2 years. The more one cultivated a divine skill, the harder it was to improve it. However, Lu Ming had used 2 years to cultivate 2 incomplete divine skills to the 6th level. If news of this spread, many people would be shocked. There was no doubt that Lu Ming's comprehension ability was the best of the best. Otherwise, he would not have been able to create miracles in the heaven realm, control multiple ultimate maxims at the same time, and finally cultivate the path of domination. And NBSP 111. At this time, pillars of light descended from the sky, enveloping everyone. Their figures disappeared, and in the next moment, they appeared on stone platforms. The stone platforms were suspended in the air. Nearly 2,000 stone platforms surrounded a huge battle platform. This place was still the Dream SPCE. Buzz! At this moment, a figure appeared in the sky above the fighting ring. This figure was the host, the one the 13 clans had chosen to host this test. The empty SPCE on planet Thousand Spirits was once again filled with people. Everyone's eyes were looking at the sky. In the sky, there was a huge screen that completely reflected the situation in the Dream SPCE. Everyone could see the Compet 1 tie-in in the Dream SPCE through this screen. Within the Dream SPCE, the figure above the fighting ring was a middle-aged man. His eyes swept across the crowd as he spoke. For all of you to be able to enter the second round, you are all the elites of the Qin Heaven Star region in the past 1,000 years. All of you already have the qualifications to join the Qin Heaven 13 clans. However, all of you have to perform well next. The better you perform, the more you will be valued by the Qin Heaven 13 clans. In the future, when you enter the Qin Heaven 13 clans, the treatment you will receive will also be better. Do you understand? The middle-aged man said. Understood. Everyone roared, their eyes burning. Chapter 26:43 The final battle begins. Although it was already certain that they would be able to enter the Qin Heavenly 13 clans, they had to perform well if they wanted to obtain a better future. If they were chosen by some big shot, they could also soar to the sky. Everyone's eyes were burning. Now, please welcome the seniors of the 13 clans. The burly man said as he cupped his fists in the air. Suddenly, there was a flash of light in the sky. Then, figures appeared one after another. There were a total of 13 batches of people, and each batch had 3 to 5 people. There were men and women, old and young. These were the experts of the Qin Heaven 13 clans. Many people were shocked and swore to themselves that they would perform well later. Alright, let's start the combat. 1. Tie-in now. There were 2,000 of you, but now there are only 1,999 of you. One of you hasn't come yet, but it doesn't matter. The combat. 1. Tie-in later will be random. The jade talisman will light up at random. The 2 people who light up at the same time will go up. The middle-aged man announced. Lu Ming smiled. The one missing was naturally Dandan. Buzz. Buzz. Suddenly, the jade talismans above 2 people's heads started to shine like 2 stars. You two, go up and fight. The middle-aged man said. Of the 2 youths, one was a youth from the Serpent Men tribe and the other was a genius from the Turtle L tribe. The Tortoise L clan was similar to the human clan in every other aspect, except that they had a tortoise L on their back, and they were known for their defense. The 2 of them looked at each other with cold eyes. Then, they jumped onto the fighting ring at the same time and stood opposite each other. Whoosh! The young man from the human-snake hybrid clan was the first to make a move. He stomped his feet and his body moved like lightning toward the young man from the Turtle L clan. In his hand, a sword light was thrust at the young man from the Turtle L clan. The attacks of the human-snake hybrid clan were fast, accurate, and ruthless. However, the young man didn't panic at all. Gray divine power emanated from his body, and then his limbs and head retracted into the clang. The Serpent Man youth's long sword stabbed into the Turtle causing sparks to fly in all directions. However, the Turtle only rolled back a few times, and was completely fine. Is it useful to hide in your Turtle Watch me break your Turtle The young man from the Serpent Men race said coldly. He kept swinging his long sword, and sword chi shot toward the young man from the Turtle race. However, the Turtle I was completely fine even when the sword lights slashed at it. Pfft! The sword light disappeared, and the other party was directly cut in half. The 2 halves of his body turned into energy and disappeared, and then condensed on the stone platforms around the fighting ring. His face was pale and his eyes were filled with fear. Although he wouldn't really die if he was killed in the dream SPCE, that feeling was real. If he was outside, he would have died already. He was filled with lingering fear. So strong. His incomplete divine skill has already been cultivated to the 4th level. And he's definitely at the peak of the 4th level. Terrifying, too terrifying. With the same level of Shin power and the same cultivation, an ordinary person can't block one sword from him. Many people were discussing in shock. Situ Feng's attack made many people's faces turn grave. An incomplete divine skill at the peak of the 4th level was already very high. One had to know that incomplete divine skills were harder to cultivate the further one went. Although 2 years had passed since the first round of assessment, most of the people were still in the 2nd and 3rd level. This was the first time someone had reached the 4th level. Furthermore, it was at the peak of the 4th level, not far from the 5th level. Combined with Situ Feng's king grade divine power, how many people could be his match? Not bad. An expert from the Qin Heavenly 13 clans nodded with a smile. He looked at Situ Feng and seemed to be tempted. The experts from the other sects also looked at Situ Feng. To be able to cultivate an incomplete divine skill to the peak of the 4th level in just a few years, his comprehension ability was already very high. Ha ha ha, Big Brother is amazing. If Lu Ming were to encounter Big Brother, he would definitely not be able to withstand a single sword. Outside, Situ Xiao laughed. Situ Haonan's face was also filled with joy. Brother Situ, congratulations. The big shots of the 13 clans just praised you. It's rare to be praised by the big shots of the 13 clans. Kang Ji also laughed and flattered. Although he was extremely jealous, he naturally had to quickly befriend Situ Haonan and firmly grasp this ally. That's right, that's right. Brother Situ, with your son's talent, it's normal for him to join the Qin Heaven 13 clans, 3 chiefs. I'm so envious. The other masters of the other powers in the chaotic astral river also praised him one by one. They wanted to take this opportunity to build a good relationship with Situ Haonan. Situ Haonan's mouth was about to split open from the smile. Chapter 2644 Multi-eyed race. Many of them looked at Situ Feng with a serious expression as they wondered how they should deal with him if they encountered him later. Only a small number of people remained calm and unmoved. Lu Ming, I hope you don't meet me. At this moment, Situ Feng looked at Lu Ming and sent him a message. Then, he leaped and flew onto the stone platform. I wish I could meet you. Lu Ming smiled faintly and replied, causing Situ Feng's eyes to emit a cold light. The compet. 1. Tian continued. One by one. Not long after, it was Xian Yanjin's turn. Beauty, you're so beautiful. I can't bear to hurt you. You should just admit defeat. Xian Yanjin's opponent was a rather handsome young man. He looked at Xian Yanjuan teasingly. Buzz. Xian Yanjuan immediately attacked. His sword light burst forth and enveloped his opponent. His opponent's incomplete divine skill had only been cultivated to the 3rd level. He was no match for Xian Yanjuan and was killed after a few moves. What a powerful woman. Many people were secretly shocked. She's holding back. Lu Ming's heart stirred. The others were shocked by Xian Yanjin's power, but Lu Ming knew that Xian Yanjuan had held back. He did not use his full strength. Otherwise, he could have killed the other party in one move. Lu Ming was curious as to why Xian Yanjuan had held back. Given her character, she would have killed him with one strike if he had provoked her like that. The compet. 1. Tian continued, and soon it was Xian Yanqing's turn. Xian Yanqing seemed to have held back as well. He did not use his full strength, especially when it came to the use of divine power. This made others think that she only controlled king-grade divine power. Then, it was Tong Shi-er's turn. Tong Shi-er's talent was very high, and the king-grade divine power she controlled was also a very terrifying king-grade divine power. Her comprehension was also extremely high, and she easily defeated her opponent. 3 people from the righteous army advanced in a row, causing the smiles on Kang Ji and Situ Haonan's faces to slowly disappear. Buzz! At this moment, a beam of light suddenly rose from Lu Ming's body. It was his turn. Lu Ming took a step forward and appeared on the field. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. His opponent was actually a 3-eyed race member. It looked almost the same as the evil god tribe of the evil god world. During this period of time, Lu Ming had also read some ancient books and had a better understanding of the 3-eyed race. The 3-eye race was considered a large race in the Qin Heaven Star region. They were very strong. Furthermore, the 3-eyed race was under the multi-eyed race. The multi-eyed race was an extremely terrifying race. Even in the primeval universe, its reputation was well known. It was ranked near the top of the list of 10,000 races in the primeval universe. The three-eyed race was only a branch of the multi-eyed race. Of course, the three-eyed race in front of him had nothing to do with the Yuanluo Palace. However, due to the evil god world, Lu Ming naturally did not have a good impression of the three-eyed race. Brat, I advise you, the heaven's favorite of the three-eyed race was ready to show off. However, Lu Ming could not be bothered to waste his breath on the other party. He rushed over and swept his long spear across. You're looking for death. The heaven's favorite of the three-eyed race roared in anger. His divine power condensed into a battle axe and he swung it at Lu Ming. Boom! The battle axe and the spear collided. A total of 9 layers of power burst out from the spear. The 9-layered strength was the manifestation of the 4th-layered incomplete divine skill of the spear technique. The terrifying power directly destroyed the battle axe condensed by the three-eyed race's prodigy's divine power. Then, the long spear struck the three-eyed race's prodigy's body. He screamed in pain and his body exploded, turning into energy and dissipating. In the next moment, he condensed on the stone platform and looked at Lu Ming in horror. He could not even withstand one move from Lu Ming and was killed in seconds. The 4th level. His incomplete divine skill has also reached the 4th level. Terrifying. Look at his badge. This person also comes from the chaotic astral river. In the chaotic astral river, there are actually 2 existences who have cultivated their incomplete divine skills to the 4th level. It seems that we've all underestimated the chaotic astral river. Lu Ming's abilities shocked many people. Even the important figures of the Qin Heaven 13 clans were a little shocked. Obviously, they had not expected that several good people would appear in succession in the chaotic astral river, which was beyond their expectations. Originally, they did not put the chaotic astral river in their eyes at all. They thought that there would not be any Heaven's Pride experts in the chaotic astral river. Therefore, in the past, when the 13 clans recruited disciples, they did not open up the chaotic astral river to them. This time, it was only because a certain important figure of the Qin Heavenly 13 clans had a sudden impulse and said that they would also open up the chaotic astral river. That's why they are recruiting disciples this time and also opening it up to the chaotic astral river. It seems that he'll have to go to the chaotic astral river more often in the future. Maybe he'll find some good seedlings. The experts of the Qin Heavenly 13 clans had different thoughts in their minds. The 4th level of an incomplete divine skill. It seems like it's not that difficult to successfully cultivate it. Outside, the ancestor of technique laughed. He deliberately raised his voice and transmitted it to Kang Ji and Situ Haonan's ears. Kang Ji and Situ Haonan coldly snorted, their faces were gloomy. If I had known that this brat's talent was so high, I would have killed him long ago. Situ Haonan gritted his teeth and said. Back then, when they were besieging the ancestor of technique on Chenjin Island on the northern Shang planet, it was Lu Ming who had suddenly appeared and given the ancestor of technique a level 7 middle-grade divine artifact, allowing him to turn the tide of the battle. If he had known that Lu Ming was so talented and had become Situ Feng's rival, he would have killed Lu Ming with all his might that day. But now, it was too late. They were filled with regret. Don't worry, Feng will definitely go further than him in the end. Situ Haonan gritted his teeth and said. After Lu Ming killed his opponent, he returned to the fighting ring. When many people looked at him, they were on guard. They obviously saw him as a threatening opponent. Interesting. It's only interesting to kill like this. When the tiger's teeth looked at Lu Ming, they revealed a hint of ferocity. The compet. 1. Tian continued. Pairs of people entered the arena and continued to fight. Most of them used their full strength as soon as they made their move, exploding with their peak combat strength. They understood that the people of the Qin Heavenly 13 clans were watching. The better their performance was, the more they would be valued. Even if they were defeated by their opponents, as long as their performance was good enough, they would still be valued. There were nearly 1,000 matches in the first round of the compet. 1. Tian, and it took half a month before all of them ended. Other than Dandan, 1,999 people had gone through 999 rounds of combat. 1. Tie-in. One person had directly advanced without a fight. In the second round, there were a total of 1,000 people. They continued to fight in pairs like before. After entering the second round, the combat. 1. Tie-in was undoubtedly more intense, because those who could enter the second round were all experts. One battle after another continued. Soon, it was Situ Feng's turn. Situ Feng was indeed very strong. He had used an incomplete divine skill at the peak of the fourth stage and easily defeated his opponent. Not long after, it was Xian Yinjuan and Xian Yanqing's turn. However, neither of them used their full strength. They pretended to fight with their opponent for dozens of moves before they defeated him. Chapter 2645 Fighting Situ Feng. Soon after Xian Yanqing and Xian Yinjuan, it was Tong Shi'er's turn. After a fierce battle, Tong Shi'er also defeated her opponent. After that, Lu Ming made his move and naturally defeated his opponent easily. People like Hu Ye, Golden Sage, Yang Chong, Ling Huyi, and the others all easily killed their opponents without any suspense. After the second round ended, there were 500 people who advanced. Then, the 500 people began the third round. 500, enter the 250th place. Situ Feng still won this round, but Xian Yinjuan and Xian Yanqing were defeated by their opponents and stopped here. Lu Ming, I'm cultivating a cultivation technique from my past life. It's not convenient for me to reveal too much. Back on the stone platform, Xian Yanqing sent Lu Ming a voice transmission. Lu Ming nodded. He guessed that Xian Yanqing's past life, or perhaps the current Xian Yinjuan, must have an extraordinary background. They didn't dare to reveal too much. Could it be that they had a great enemy? Lu Ming had many thoughts in his mind. Xian Yanqing wouldn't hide anything from him, but whenever something from his previous life was mentioned, Xian Yanqing was always reluctant to say more. Was it because of the great enemy? The more Lu Ming thought about it, the more he felt that it was possible. Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjin's past lives must have been extraordinary. This was because reincarnation was involved in the past and present life. Anyway, according to Lu Ming's knowledge, no one could reincarnate. Could a God King do that? In the heaven realm, the sacred ancestor Bloodheart had awakened from Lu Ming's bloodline, but it was not reincarnation. This was because the sacred ancestor Bloodheart was not dead at all. He had only used a drop of his bloodline to hide in the depths of Lu Ming's bloodline. Also, back then, Dandan did not reincarnate. Dandan was seriously injured and turned into an egg, and she was reborn. Reincarnation was a mystery. Xian Yinjuan and Xian Yanqing reincarnated at the same time in their previous lives, so it was very likely that they had a great enemy. Furthermore, their greatest enemy was most likely the greatest enemy of the entire universe. Lu Ming thought of many things. He understood that Xian Yanqing did not want to say more because he did not want to implicate him, Lu Shenhuang, and the rest. Strength, my strength is too low. Little Qing, one day, I will become a peak master in the primeval universe and you will no longer have to worry about me. Lu Ming secretly swore in his heart. After Xian Yanqing and Xian Yinjuan lost, Tong Shi'er went on stage. After a difficult battle, Tong Shi'er barely won against her opponent. When it was Lu Ming's turn, he also defeated his opponent. Golden Sage, Hu Ye, and the others naturally had no suspense. After the third round ended, there were 250 people left. In the fighting ring, many people moved away from Yang Chong. Yang Chong's strength was simply too astonishing. Up until now, he had yet to unleash his full strength, and no one dared to fight him. Lu Ming, we've finally met. Let's have a battle. Just what I wanted. Suddenly, the two figures charged at each other and started fighting. Fight me. Fight. The two of them were like a fuse, and people kept fighting each other. Lu Ming. Situ Feng fixed his eyes on Lu Ming and strode toward him, his cold killing intent locked onto Lu Ming. They're going to fight. Lu Ming is going to fight Situ Feng. Outside, The eyes of many chaotic astral river experts brighten. They were all from the chaotic astral river. Naturally, they would pay more attention to Lu Ming and Situ Feng. They all wanted to see who was stronger between Lu Ming and Situ Feng. Feng will definitely be able to kill Lu Ming. Together with Yang Chong, will be the last two to enter the top 10. Situ Haonan roared in his heart as he was filled with antic. 1 Whoosh! Situ Feng's divine power surged and condensed into a combat sword. His entire person was like a dazzling sword light as he charged toward Lu Ming. Buzz! Lu Ming condensed a long spear with his ruler's power. He swept it out and it collided with Situ Feng's combat sword. With a violent boom, a figure retreated quickly. It was Situ Feng. Situ Feng has retreated. He is not Lu Ming's match. Some people of the chaotic astral river cried out in alarm. How could it be like this? Damn it! Situ Haonan and Kang Ji both roared in their hearts, their faces were gloomy. Situ Feng, this is your strength. What a disappointment. Kill him. Lu Ming said coldly. He took a step forward and charged at Situ Feng at top speed. The long spear shook, and beams of dazzling spear light enveloped Situ Feng. Situ Feng exerted all his strength and executed the incomplete divine skill at the peak of the 4th level to the extreme. However, he was still suppressed by Lu Ming and was forced to retreat. Lu Ming, you're indeed quite powerful. I was planning to use it last, but now, you can die. Situ Feng's cold voice was heard. As soon as he finished speaking, his speed suddenly increased and he appeared behind Lu Ming in the blink of an eye. He slashed down with his sword as fast as lightning. Chapter 2646 Shocking everyone. Situ Feng's speed suddenly increased. He appeared behind Lu Ming and slashed out with his sword. The sharp and terrifying sword chi made Lu Ming's skin tighten. What incredible speed! It's an incomplete speed-type divine skill. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He took a step forward and his body burst forward. Then, he whipped his long spear backward. Thump! The spear gleam swept across Situ Feng's sword aura, allowing Lu Ming to avoid Situ Feng's attack by a hair's breadth. That is. It's an incomplete speed-type divine skill. Situ Feng has actually cultivated an incomplete speed-type divine skill. Moreover, judging from its power, it has also reached the 4th level. Terrifying, truly terrifying. This Situ Feng has actually cultivated 2 incomplete divine skills to the 4th level in just a few years. Many people were amazed. Everyone knew that Situ Feng had been hiding his strength. What he cultivated was not an incomplete divine skill, but 2. A speed-type incomplete divine skill and an attack-type incomplete divine skill. The combination of the 2 would increase the power explosively. Even the eyes of the big shots of the Qin Heavenly 13 clans lit up. In just a few years, you've managed to cultivate 2 incomplete divine skills to the 4th level. This kind of comprehension ability is not bad, not bad. I didn't expect that there would be such a person in the chaotic astral river. A purple-robed elder from the indestructible sword sect, one of the 3 overlord forces, stroked his beard and revealed a satisfied expression. Ha ha ha, Feng has actually cultivated an incomplete speed-type divine skill. Ha, that's great. I knew he wouldn't lose. Situ Haonan even laughed out loud in excitement. He was truly excited. Didn't he see that even the experts from the indestructible sword sect, one of the 3 overlord forces, were praising Situ Feng? It was obvious that she had taken a fancy to Situ Feng. There was a high chance that Situ Feng would join the Eternal Sword sect, so it would be strange if he wasn't excited. Kill him. Kill that brat. Situ Haonan roared in his heart. Lu Ming, you're still far from being comparable to me. I'm the #1 heavenly pride in the chaotic astral river. Situ Feng sneered and pounced toward Lu Ming. In an instant, 36 sword gleams were aimed at Lu Ming's vital points. The combination of a speed-type incomplete divine skill and an attack-type incomplete divine skill was indeed powerful, and it increased his combat power by a large margin. Buzz! Lu Ming held the long spear in his hand and swept it out with the momentum of sweeping away thousands of troops. Bang! Bang! Situ Feng's sword gleam shattered continuously, but it burst out again and slashed at Lu Ming. In the span of a breath, Situ Feng had circled Lu Ming 37 times and slashed out 1,086 sword gleams. This was the terrifying combination of an incomplete speed-type divine skill and an incomplete attack-type divine skill. The combination of the two completely controlled Lu Ming within a certain range. He could only be beaten up passively. This was because one's speed was not as fast as the other party's. When one's attack was launched, the other party would have dodged it. However, it would be difficult for one to dodge the other party's attack. Let's see how many moves you can block. Die! Situ Feng's cold voice sounded, and his attacks became more and more violent. Situ Feng, is this your full strength? Then, let's stop here. At this moment, Lu Ming spoke calmly. As soon as Lu Ming's voice fell, his figure soared into the sky like a roc spreading its wings. Then, Lu Ming swooped down at an amazing speed. He became one with his spear and stabbed at Situ Feng. Fast, it was extremely fast. Many people had the illusion that Lu Ming had transformed into a roc and was hunting for prey. It's an incomplete speed-type divine skill, and it's also an incomplete level 4 speed-type divine skill. Someone exclaimed. Lu Ming had also mastered an incomplete speed-type divine skill. Situ Feng's eyes narrowed as he slashed his combat sword violently, clashing with Lu Ming's long spear. Break! Lu Ming said softly. He shook the long spear and in an instant, 11 layers of strength burst out. Incomplete divine skill, 5th level. At this moment, Lu Ming used the 4th stage of the roc wings technique and the 5th stage of the incomplete divine skill. Of course, Lu Ming concealed his divine power and did not use his full strength. Otherwise, he would not have needed to use so many moves. Even so, Situ Feng could not withstand it at all. The sword gleam collapsed and Lu Ming's spear pierced through Situ Feng's head, killing him instantly. In the next moment, Situ Feng appeared on the stone platform with a look of disbelief. The 5th level of an offensive divine skill. His offensive divine skill has reached the 5th level. My God, it's actually the 5th level. How is this possible? This is too scary. Many people could tell the level of the incomplete divine skill that Lu Ming used and exclaimed in disbelief. At this moment, everyone's eyes shifted from the others to Lu Ming. This was the first time they had seen someone cultivate an incomplete divine skill to the 5th level. One had to know that they only had 3 years to cultivate an incomplete divine skill to the 5th level and another incomplete speed-type divine skill to the 4th level. This level of talent and comprehension was too terrifying. Many of the young men looked at Lu Ming with grave expressions. Only a few of them could remain calm. So what if your comprehension is high? If your Shen power level is not good, you are still not my opponent. Hu Ya's eyes became even colder. How is this possible? How is this possible? At this moment, Situ Haonan was already in a daze. He rubbed his eyes hard and couldn't believe what he was seeing. Just now, when Situ Feng had revealed 2 divine skills, Situ Haonan had been extremely excited and had even laughed out loud, thinking that Situ Feng would definitely win. However, in the blink of an eye, Situ Feng was killed by Lu Ming. Damn it, how can this kid's comprehension be so high? Kang Ji also gritted his teeth. With Lu Ming's high level of comprehension, he would definitely be valued by the Qin Heavenly 13 clans. If he was placed in an important position, the Yuan Luo Palace would be finished. Damn it! Kang Long roared in his heart. He felt that the heavens were unfair. Why did he not have such a high level of comprehension? Why did he have to let an ant in his heart have such a high level of comprehension? At this moment, the eyes of the experts from the Qin Heavenly 13 clans all lit up. A speed-type divine skill at the 4th level and an attack-type divine skill at the 5th level. Not bad, not bad. It's actually also from the chaotic astral river. This is really unexpected. He's a good seedling. The experts of the Qin Heaven 13 clan spoke one after another. Even the experts of the 3 overlord forces had expressions of interest on their faces. To be able to receive such an evaluation from the experts of the Qin Heavenly 13 clans, the other young heavens favorites were all green with envy. Lu Ming's combat strength is too strong. I'm afraid he's only second to Yang Cheng, Huya, and the Golden Sage. That's right. Other than these few who control divine grade divine power, no one can defeat them. I don't know about Ling Huye's background. He seems to be unfathomable. Many young men were discussing and placing Lu Ming in the 2nd tier. The 1st tier consisted of Yang Cheng, Huya, and the Golden Sage. In the 2nd tier were Lu Ming, Ling Huyi, and those who had won 1st place in their respective battlefields in the 1st round. Chapter 2647 Top 10 After Lu Ming defeated Situ Feng, the number of people in the fighting ring had been reduced by more than half. There were only 12 people left out of the 25. Among the 12 people, a few of them were still fighting each other. There were a few people who looked at Lu Ming warily. In addition, Yang Cheng was standing with his hands behind his back. He had not made a move yet, and the others were far away from him. You're Lu Ming. You're pretty strong, so why don't we join forces and get rid of the others? At this moment, Lu Ming heard a voice. It was Yang Cheng's voice. It was obvious that Yang Cheng had acknowledged Lu Ming's abilities. He took the initiative to look for him to work together and eliminate the others. This way, the two of them could enter the top 10. All right. Lu Ming agreed immediately. Upon hearing Lu Ming's reply, a cold glint flashed across Yang Cheng's eyes. He stepped forward and walked toward a young man. The young man was shocked and quickly retreated. However, Yang Cheng's speed suddenly increased. He appeared in front of the young man and struck out with his palm. Boom! This palm was shockingly powerful. Although the young man tried his best to block it, his body exploded when Yang Cheng's palm landed. He had no way to resist. Then, his body condensed on the stone platform, his face pale. It's too terrifying. Is that the power of the sacred grade divine power? This young man still had a fearful expression on his face. His divine power was a king grade divine power, and it was a rather powerful king grade divine power. However, it could not withstand a single blow from Yang Cheng's saint grade divine power. It was crushed and crushed like tofu. Speed type incomplete divine skill, peak of the 4th level. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. He could tell that Yang Cheng had also cultivated an incomplete speed-type divine skill that had reached the peak of the 4th level, which was even stronger than Situ Feng's speed-type divine skill. It's my turn. Buzz! Lu Ming's figure was like a ROC as he pounced on a youth, his long spear pressing down like a mountain. The young man could not withstand the attack of Lu Ming's 5th incomplete divine skill at all. His body was shattered by the impact. Other than Lu Ming and Yang Cheng, there were 8 other people in the fighting ring. Originally, there were a few people fighting, but at this time, they couldn't help but stop. The two of them want to join forces to kill us. Let's join forces. That's right. Let's work together. We're all at the 1st level of the Void God realm. No matter how strong they are, we don't need to fear them if we work together. Let's join hands. On the battle mountain, 8 young men gathered together. So what if we join forces? Get down. Yang Cheng was incomparably domineering, his divine power howling as he charged at them. Lu Ming charged at the 8 people from the other side. Boom! Boom! Yang Cheng's full strength was indeed astonishing. And NBSP the divine power was a peak stage 4 incomplete offensive divine skill, and a peak stage 4 speed divine skill. When combined, it was like a violent tide. Lu Ming did not unleash his divine power to the maximum. He cast the soul transformation technique and concealed the level of his divine power to king grade. Moreover, his cultivation was only at the demigod level, which was slightly weaker. However, Lu Ming's incomplete divine skill had reached the 5th level, and its power was extremely shocking. Each spear strike contained 11 bursts of power, each stronger than the last. Although the 8 young men had joined forces, they were no match for Lu Ming and Yang Chong. They were forced to retreat. The battle has been decided. Lu Ming and Yang Chong are indeed the strongest in this round. Many people shook their heads. There was no longer any suspense in this battle. Not long after, the 8 young men were blasted off the fighting ring by Lu Ming and Yang Chong, ending the battle. Lu Ming and Yang Chong were the last to stay behind. They had already secured a spot in the top 10. Brother Fa Ming, congratulations, congratulations. Seeing that Lu Ming had entered the top 10, some of the leaders of the forces in the chaotic astral river congratulated the ancestor of Technique one after another, their faces full of flattery. Some of them had just been fawning over Sita Haonan, but in the blink of an eye, they had gone to fawn over the ancestor of Technique. Kang Ji and Situ Haonan's faces were extremely ugly. Lu Ming had made it into the top 10. It was almost certain that he would join the 3 overlord forces. Even if Situ Feng could join the 3 overlord forces, he would not be as highly regarded as Lu Ming. How could he compete with Lu Ming? The two of them were already panicking. Lu Ming and Yang Chong locked onto the top 10 and retreated from the fighting ring. Then, the next group of 25 people went on stage. This time, Huya was the center of attention, as well as the person who had obtained first place in a certain battle zone in the first round of the A.S. assessment. On the surface, these 2 people were the strongest. The result wasn't too surprising. After a battle, Huya and that heaven's favorite obtained a place in the top 10. Then the third group. In this group, the Golden Sage won without a doubt. In addition, there was also an extremely beautiful woman. Unexpectedly, she defeated someone who was ranked first in a certain battle region in the first round and obtained the top 10. The fourth group, Ling Huyi. Ling Huyi's display of terrifying combat strength shocked everyone. The Shin power that Ling Huyi controlled was just normal Shin power. This was the only one among the existing people. However, the incomplete divine skill that he had just revealed was shocking. It was an incomplete speed-type divine skill at the peak of the 5th level. It was an attack-type incomplete divine skill, and it was also at the peak of the 5th level. The combination of the two allowed him to win directly, defeating strong enemies one after another. 2 incomplete divine skills have both reached the peak of the 5th level. This level of comprehension is simply too shocking. What a terrifying comprehension! Everyone was amazed. The eyes of the experts from the Qin Heavenly 13 clans also lit up. To a large sect like the Qin Heavenly 13 clans, comprehension was extremely important. But what did it matter? The Qin Heavenly 13 clans had divine techniques and wondrous arts. As long as one cultivated the divine techniques and wondrous arts to an extremely high level, one's divine power level would naturally rise. As long as one's comprehension ability was heaven-defying enough, there were even divine techniques in the 3 overlord forces that could even raise divine-grade divine power. The experts of the Qin Heavenly 13 clans were already thinking about how to invite Ling Huyi. Of course, Lu Ming, Yang Chong, the Golden Sage, and Huya were all invited. The 5th group's compet. 1. Tian also ended very quickly. The top 10 were born. However, the compet. 1. Tian had to continue. Since they were going to compete, they naturally had to determine who was stronger. Furthermore, the experts from the Qin Heaven 13 clans also wanted to see if there were any people who were still holding back. Next, the 10 of you will fight in pairs. The odds are random. Let's begin. The middle-aged man announced. As soon as he finished speaking, 2 people's bodies started to shine. One of them was Ling Huyi, and the other was the person who had won first place in the first round. The 2 of them didn't say much and directly attacked. Ling Huyi's opponent was also very strong. He had also cultivated 2 incomplete divine skills, both of which had reached the peak of stage 4. The divine power he controlled was a terrifying king-grade divine power. The two of them exchanged hundreds of moves, and Ling Huyi was the one who won in the end. Chapter 2648 Frightening Comprehension. It was Lu Ming's turn for the second round. Lu Ming's opponent was also someone who ranked first in a certain region in the first round. This person also controlled a terrifying king-grade divine power. He also had 2 incomplete divine skills that had been cultivated to the peak of stage 4. However, one of the incomplete divine skills that Lu Ming had displayed had reached the 5th level. Naturally, the other party was no match for him. After a fierce battle, he was blasted off the fighting ring by Lu Ming. Following that, Golden Saint, Huya, and Yang Chong all defeated their opponents one by one. It seemed that everything could be arranged. Lu Ming, Ling Huyi, Yang Chong, Huya, and the Golden Sage did not meet. However, the remaining 5 would eventually clash. The peak confrontation is coming. Everyone revealed a look of antic. 1. P-ation. Next, Lu Ming, Ling Huyi, Yang Chong, Golden Sage, and Huya were all going to fight. This was going to be a peak battle. Who do you think is the strongest among the 5 of them? I think the top 3 should be Golden Sage, Huya, and Yang Chong. Lu Ming is slightly stronger than Ling Huyi, and Ling Huyi is the weakest. I think so too. Although Golden Sage, Huya, and Yang Chong's comprehension of incomplete divine skills is not as good as Lu Ming and Ling Hu, yes, they have mastered divine-grade divine power and are extremely powerful. That's right. It's hard to say who's stronger in the future, but for now, Lu Ming and Ling Huyi are at a disadvantage in terms of divine power. I'm afraid they're not Yang Chong, Golden Sage, and Huya's match. Many people were discussing who would win. Most of them believed that Golden Saint, Huya, and Yang Chong would be the top 3. Lu Ming and Ling Huyi found it difficult to fight against the 3 of them. It's hard to say. What if Ling Huyi and Lu Ming are still holding back? Suddenly, a voice was heard. You're holding back. You're saying that the incomplete divine skill they comprehended is even more advanced. Not bad, that shouldn't be possible. It's already shocking enough to comprehend an incomplete divine skill to this extent in just 3 years. There aren't many in history who can do this. That's right. I think they've already done their best. Most of the people shook their heads in objection. They felt that Lu Ming and Ling Huyi would not hold back. Alright, let's begin the final battle. There are 5 of you left, so I'll randomly pick one person to pass. The other 4 will fight each other. The middle-aged man in the sky spoke again. Then, he waved his hand and the jade talisman above the Golden Saint's head lit up. For this round, the Golden Sage will be free to fight. The other 4 can choose their opponents at will. The middle-aged man said. The compet. 1. Tie-in this time around was merely a test for the Qin Heaven 13 clans to recruit disciples. With the experts of the Qin Heaven 13 clans here to observe, there was no need to be so fair. The rules were more casual. As long as they displayed their strength, the experts of the Qin Heaven 13 clans would be able to see who was stronger and who had more potential. I'll go first. Yang Chong was the first to leap onto the fighting ring. His gaze swept across Lu Ming, Huya, and Ling Huyi before finally landing on Ling Huyi. Ling Huyi, you have a high level of comprehension, but your divine power is too weak. Fight with me. I want to see if you still have any hidden strength. Yang Chong said. As you wish. Ling Huyi stepped into the air and a long sword appeared in his hand. Boom. Without saying anything else, Yang Chong immediately attacked. His entire body was suffused with scarlet divine power, making him look like a god of the sun. And NBSP, the violent divine power, combined with the peak 4th level speed-type divine skill, made his speed reach an extreme. He crossed the battle stage in an instant and approached Ling Huyi. The violent palm force poured down on Ling Huyi like an avalanche. The incomplete offensive divine skill that Yang Chong had chosen complemented his divine power. It was scorching hot and powerful. Buzz! The sound of a sword rang out, and sword chi soared into the sky. Ling Huyi slashed out more than 10 times in a row, and each sword light cut into Yang Chong's palm energy. However, the sword lights trembled and were crushed by Yang Chong's palm energy. The terrifying palm energy suddenly burst out and rushed toward Ling Huyi. Ling Huyi's body was as light as a feather. He drifted backward until he reached the edge of the fighting ring to avoid Yang Chong's palm energy. Ling Huyi is no match for him. Someone exclaimed. Ling Huyi's Shen power is too low. Normal Shen power, no matter how strong it is or how powerful it is, can't compete with sacred grade Shen power. Indeed, even if his incomplete Shen technique is more profound, it is not much, so it is still useless. I told you, he should be the weakest among the 5. Many people were discussing. Ling Huyi, if that's all you've got, then let's end this, let's go. Yang Chong said as he rushed towards Ling Huyi like a fiery meteor. A fiery red palm print, 10 meters in length and width, was sent towards Ling Huyi. However, Ling Huyi's face was still calm, and he didn't panic at all. He raised the long sword in his hand, and the long sword began to vibrate at a strange frequency. Whoosh! Then, Ling Huyi suddenly slashed out with his sword. A beam of sword light burst out and collided with Yang Chong's palm energy. Boom! A terrifying explosion reverberated in all directions. Yang Chong's palm force was actually blocked and kept shaking. What was even more shocking was that everyone saw Yang Chong's palm energy being cut apart by Ling Huyi's sword light. Bang! In the end, Yang Chong's palm energy was split into 2, and Ling Huyi's sword light also dispersed. It was blocked. Everyone was shocked. Ling Huyi had actually blocked Yang Chong's palm energy. And NBSP Yang Chong's divine power was a sacred divine power, and a palm that combined it with an incomplete 4th-level divine skill was shockingly powerful, but Ling Huyi had used ordinary divine power to block Yang Chong's palm. How was this possible? The 6th level, this is the 6th level of an incomplete divine skill. Someone shouted in disbelief. My God, Ling Huyi has already cultivated the incomplete divine skill to the 6th level. How is this possible? Many people exclaimed in disbelief. One had to know that Yang Chong, the Golden Saint, and Huya, who were all geniuses with divine grade divine power, had only cultivated the incomplete divine skill to the peak of the 4th level. It had only been 3 short years since he had reached the 6th level. This level of comprehension was too terrifying. The 6th level. The eyes of the experts from the Qin Heavenly 13 clans all lit up as they stared at Ling Huyi. This kind of terrifying comprehension ability, they were determined to have it. I didn't expect that you've already cultivated an offensive incomplete divine skill to the 6th level. Yang Chong's eyes were also solemn. The incomplete 6th level of the divine skill could already be a direct match for him. However, you will still lose. And NBSP die. Yang Chong roared, his divine power bursting forth as his burly body charged at Ling Huyi. His palms continued to strike out at Ling Huyi. Chapter 2649 Killing Huya. Yang Chong had pushed his strength to the extreme. His palm force whistled and swept across the entire fighting ring. However, just as his palm was about to land, he lost track of Ling Huyi. Ling Huyi had been standing at the edge of the fighting ring, but he suddenly appeared behind Yang Chong. What an amazing speed! Many people were shocked again. Whoosh! Whoosh! Ling Huyi's long sword whistled as it slashed toward Yang Chong. Yang Chong's pupils rapidly contracted, and his divine power surged as he set up layers of defense around his body. At the same time, he suddenly turned around and waved his palm. The power of his palm collided with Ling Huyi's sword light, and then he took the opportunity to attack Ling Huyi. However, Ling Huyi's body moved again, moving away from Yang Chong and appearing on his left. So fast, so fast. This speed is too shocking. The 6th level. The 6th level of a speed-type divine skill. Someone exclaimed again. What? Everyone was shocked. Speed-type divine skill, level 6. How was it possible that Ling Huyi had also cultivated his speed-type skill to the 6th level? In just 3 years, he had cultivated 2 incomplete divine skills to the 6th level. This level of comprehension could no longer be described as abnormal. He's managed to train 2 divine level experts to the 6th tier. Impressive. Even Lu Ming could not help but sigh. He had never imagined that there would be someone like him who had managed to cultivate 2 incomplete divine skills to the 6th level in just 3 years. There were indeed countless prodigies in the primeval universe, and the heaven realm and the primordial realm couldn't compare. In the heaven realm and the primordial realm, he was definitely the first person in all of history. No one could compare to him. Even the ancestor of technique, who had created the system of laws, was far from his level. His talent was also unparalleled. However, after coming to the desolate universe, he had met someone who could compare with him. At least, in terms of comprehension, Ling Huyi was not weaker than him. And this was only after the Qin Heavenly 13 clans recruited disciples once every 1,000 years. How many abnormal geniuses had been born in these countless years? Interesting, this is what makes it interesting. Lu Ming's eyes lit up and he was looking forward to it. This was the world he had been looking forward to. In the heaven realm and the primordial realm, he had long been unrivaled among his peers. However, in the primal universe, he was still nothing. However, it was only with an opponent that one would have passion and motivation. What a good fellow. The experts of the Qin Heavenly 13 clans also heaved a long sigh of relief. Their eyes were filled with greed. With such perverted comprehension, if he cultivated the wondrous techniques of their sect, he would definitely be able to rise in time. What kind of freak is this? At this moment, Yang Chong himself was also extremely shocked. He tried his best, but he couldn't hit Ling Huyi. Ling Huyi's speed was much faster than his, and with the addition of the 6th level of the offensive divine skill, the power was shocking. The two of them exchanged blows continuously, but Yang Chong was at a disadvantage. The main thing was that he couldn't hit Ling Huyi, but Ling Huyi could hit him. Just like that, the two of them exchanged hundreds of moves. In the end, Ling Huyi won and defeated Yang Chong. Ling Huyi won. I didn't expect this. I really didn't expect this. I was wrong. It seems that Ling Huyi has a chance to win first place. However, Golden Sage is not like Yang Chong. Golden Sage's defense is amazing, and he can restrain Ling Huyi. That's right. It seems like Lu Ming is the weakest among the 5 of them. Indeed. Ling Huyi's defeat of Yang Chong was indeed beyond everyone's expectations. Ling Huyi's face was calm as he retreated from the fighting ring. Boom! As soon as Ling Huyi left, a figure rushed down the fighting ring and stomped heavily on it, making the fighting ring roar. Lu Ming, get down here and die. Huyi's eyes were like lightning as he swept his gaze over Lu Ming, his voice reverberating throughout the entire area. Lu Ming took a step forward and landed on the fighting ring, facing Huya. I've said it before, if you touch me, it'll make you die an ugly death. Huya's voice was cold, and he revealed a sinister expression. Previously, the other members of your tiger clan also said the same thing to me. In the end, when I made my move, I realized that they were all trash. In my opinion, you are no exception. Lu Ming said indifferently. This kid. You're looking for death. He doesn't know what's good for him. If my cultivation wasn't suppressed, I could have killed him with a flip of my hand. Upon hearing Lu Ming's words, some of the young men from the Tiger clan were so angry that they almost vomited blood. They looked at Lu Ming with killing intent. This Lu Ming is really arrogant. From what he's saying, he's implying that Huya is trash. Indeed, he's crazy enough. However, if he talks too fast, I'm afraid he'll have to face a storm of attacks from Huya. Some people were discussing. As expected, a cold killing intent burst out from Huya's eyes. Roar. He let out a long howl like a giant tiger. The muscles on his body swelled up, and a terrifying divine grade power burst forth. He stomped his feet and charged at Lu Ming. Chi La. Hu Ya's fingers turned into claws and he struck out with both claws, trying to tear Lu Ming apart. Lu Ming used his ruler's divine power to form a long spear. He thrust it out several times and stabbed Hu Ya's claws. The two of them collided more than a dozen times in a row, and their figures retreated at the same time. Hu Ya had cultivated two incomplete divine skills, one speed type and one attack type, both at the peak of the 4th stage. Together with his saint-grade divine power, his combat strength was not weaker than Yang Chang's. Roar. The tiger's teeth roared and it launched a storm of attacks at Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. He wanted to suppress Lu Ming with his speed and then tear Lu Ming apart with his violent attacks. Lu Ming kept waving his spear to block, but he was at a slight disadvantage. After all, Lu Ming's current divine power was only displaying the power of a king-grade divine power. Lu Ming is indeed no match for Hu Ya, that's right. Lu Ming's divine power is king-grade divine power, and it's an extremely powerful king-grade divine power. Moreover, his offensive divine skill has been cultivated to the peak of the 5th stage. In terms of offensive power, he's not much weaker than Hu Ya. However, his speed-type divine skill is the same as Hu Ya, at the peak of the 4th stage. However, his divine power is not as strong as Hu Ya's, so he's destined to be suppressed. Not bad. In terms of overall ability, Lu Ming is still weaker. Some people were watching while discussing. Competing in speed. Then I'll let you experience what speed is. At this moment, Lu Ming's cold voice was heard. In the next moment, Lu Ming's figure burst into the sky like a golden-winged ROC, soaring through the 9 heavens. Buzz! Buzz! Lu Ming's figure and spear shadows filled the sky. At this moment, countless spear shadows pierced towards Hu Ya from all directions. This speed, Hu Ya's heart trembled as he tried his best to block it. However, he realized that there were too many spear shadows coming from all directions. It was impossible to block all of them. Black Kit, die! Hu Ya roared as he used his divine power to form a divine power barrier around his body. Boom! 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 Lu Ming's spear's gleam continuously stabbed Hu Ya's divine power protective shield. The rain shield shook wildly. After 100 consecutive strikes, the protective shield exploded with a loud bang. Hu Ya let out a blood-curdling screech as his body was pierced through by Lu Ming's spear and he died on the spot. Chapter 2650 Final battle. After Hu Ya was killed, he condensed on a stone platform. His face was extremely gloomy as he stared at Lu Ming. His killing intent was even stronger than before. One said, "You're the same as the tiger men from before. You're all trash." Lu Ming cast a disdainful look at Hu Ya. Creak. He gritted his teeth and glared at Lu Ming, his killing intent growing stronger. Lu Ming, I'm going to kill you. My cultivation is suppressed here. Otherwise, one could kill you with one finger. Hu Ya roared in his heart. Indeed, Lu Ming only had a demigod cultivation base. In his eyes, Lu Ming was just an ant. As a heaven's favorite of the Tigerman tribe that only appeared once every 100,000 years, his actual cultivation had already reached the 9th level of the Void God Realm and was not far from the True God Realm. With such a cultivation level and his divine grade divine power, he would not be afraid even if he encountered a true god level, let alone Lu Ming. It was just that he couldn't display it here. Hu Ya, he actually lost. And he lost so easily. At this moment, everyone watching the battle was a little confused. They only saw Lu Ming's speed suddenly increase. In the blink of an eye, he had launched many attacks and defeated Hu Ya in one fell swoop. That speed is too shocking. Lu Ming was actually hiding his strength. What level is that incomplete speed-type divine skill? One feel like I've grown a lot. Is the 5th level really that powerful? Don't tell me it's the 6th level. Towards the end, many people felt that it was unbelievable. An incomplete speed-type divine skill at the 6th level. Good. At this moment, an expert from the Unique Devil Academy spoke, and his eyes revealed a look of surprise. Heavens, it really is the 6th level. Lu Ming actually has an incomplete divine skill and has comprehended it to the 6th level. His level of comprehension is not much worse than Ling Hu Yes. In that case, Lu Ming's abilities are above Ling Hu Yes. Doesn't that mean that he's aiming for the first place? It's hard to say. Although he's fast, his attack power is similar to Hu Yas. I'm afraid he can't break through the defense of a golden saint. This is also shocking enough. There are too many Heaven's favorites with terrifying comprehension ability this time. Moreover, he's from the chaotic astral river. Many people were shocked. This level of comprehension, the people of the chaotic astral river were all dumbfounded. The pavilion master of Yunfeng Pavilion was ecstatic. The stronger the genius of the chaotic astral river is, the more rewards he will receive. Only Kang Ji and Situ Haonan's faces were extremely ugly. There was killing intent in their eyes, but also fear. Ha ha ha. The ancestor of technique was naturally ecstatic. On the stone platform, Ling Hu Yi and the Golden Sage looked at Lu Ming with a serious expression. Lu Ming retreated to the fighting ring. Now, only Lu Ming, Ling Hu Yi and the Golden Sage were left. There's only the 3 of you left. The 13 clans have already seen your strength, so there's no need for you to continue fighting. However, one believe many of you are curious about who is stronger. How about this? The 3 of you will take turns to fight and see who is stronger. Golden Sage, Ling Hu Yi, you two will fight first. The burly man in the air said. The Golden Saint and Ling Hu Yi nodded and appeared on the fighting ring. Come on. Golden Sage's eyes glowed with golden light. Boom. His divine power was boiling. At the same time, his muscles bulged. His body changed color and had a metallic luster. The most shocking thing was that a layer of armor appeared on the surface of his body. This armor was formed by combining divine power with a defensive divine skill. It was like an armor made of diamond and gave off an indestructible feeling. The Vajra race specialized in defense. Their defensive power was even stronger than the Turtle Shell clan. Kill! The Golden Sage roared and rushed towards Ling Hu Yi. Buzz! Buzz! Ling Hu Yi moved his body and easily dodged the attack of the Golden Sage. Ling Hu Yi's incomplete speed-type divine skill had been cultivated to the 6th level, while the Golden Sage had not cultivated any speed-type divine skill at all. In terms of speed, he was much slower than Ling Hu Yi and could not attack him at all. The Golden Sage stopped his attack after his first attack failed. Whoosh! The Golden Sage did not attack, but Ling Hu Yi made his move. His body was like lightning as he charged towards the Golden Sage. In an instant, hundreds of sword lights stabbed towards the Golden Sage. Ding! 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 The sound of collision was heard. In an instant, Ling Hu Yi had sent hundreds of sword lights to stab the Golden Saint. However, they could not break through the Golden Saint's defense and were completely blocked. Ling Hu Yi, this is not enough. Not enough. The Golden Sage grinned. Whoosh! Whoosh! Ling Hu Yi didn't say a word and continued to attack. Dense sword light appeared in the sky and kept stabbing towards the Golden Saint. However, it was still useless. The sword light stopped and the Golden Sage was unharmed. Ha ha ha, Ling Hu Yi, you're just scratching my itch. The Golden Sage laughed. Ling Hu Yi retreated with a gloomy face and stopped attacking. It seems like this match will end in a draw, that's right. Ling Hu Yi's comprehension is unparalleled. It's a pity that his divine power is a little weak. If he had king-grade divine power, he might be able to break through the defense of a Golden Saint. That's right. Based on the current situation, the battle between Lu Ming and the Golden Sage should be a draw. It's difficult to determine a winner between the 3 of them. Indeed. Many people sighed. It wasn't that Ling Huyi wasn't strong, but that the Golden Saint's defensive power was too abnormal. Moreover, what he cultivated was also an incomplete defensive divine skill. However, speed was a Golden Saint's weakness. He could not catch up with Ling Huyi, so this battle could only be considered a draw. Alright, this round is a draw. Take a break and move on to the next round, the Holy Battle of the Golden Saints, Lu Ming. The middle-aged man announced. Ling Huyi left, and the Golden Saint sat cross-legged on the battle platform, absorbing the energy of the divine crystals to recover his divine power. Not long after, the Golden Sage stood up. Alright, I'm done. The Golden Sage said. Lu Ming, you can go up. The middle-aged man looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming nodded and stepped into the fighting ring. Lu Ming, you can't break through my defense. At most, this battle will be a draw. The Golden Sage said. How would you know if you didn't fight? Lu Ming smiled faintly. If you don't want to give up, then let's fight, die. Golden Saint coldly shouted as he unleashed his divine power and used a defensive divine skill, creating a diamond-like armor that covered his body. Buzz! Lu Ming rushed out and swept his spear across. Break! The Golden Sage threw a punch at Lu Ming's long spear. However, Lu Ming's figure moved and appeared behind the Golden Sage. He struck the Golden Sage's body with his spear and 11 levels of power burst out in an instant. Boom! Boom! The Golden Sage's body trembled a few times, but he managed to withstand it. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Ming's strength changed and he continued to stab. The tip of the spear hit the Golden Sage's body and made a tinkling sound. However, it was still blocked by the Golden Sage and it was difficult to break through. Chapter 2651 Who's the strongest? Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, I've said it before. So what if you're fast? You can't break my defense. The Golden Sage laughed. Lu Ming really can't break the defense of the Golden Sage, the difference in strength isn't that great. Golden Sage is an undefeatable existence. His defensive power is too shocking. Many people sighed, thinking that this round was going to be a draw again. Golden Saint, your defensive power is indeed amazing, but how do you know that this is my strongest combat power? At this moment, Lu Ming's calm voice was heard. What? The Golden Sage was stunned. Let's see if you can block this spear of mine. Lu Ming stepped back and suddenly rushed towards the Golden Sage. His long spear shook and turned into more than 10 spear lights, stabbing towards the Golden Sage. However, just as his spear radiance was about to hit the Golden Sage, more than a dozen spear radiances merged together and turned into a spear radiance that stabbed toward the Golden Sage. Pfft! An ear-piercing sound rang out. It was as if a layer of leather had been pierced. Then, he heard the Golden Saint's roar. His body flew far away and fell to the ground. Everyone's pupils contracted. The defense of the Golden Sage had been broken. There was a hole in the Golden Sage's heart. It was pierced through from the front to the back by Lu Ming. The 6th level. Your incomplete divine skill has already been cultivated to the 6th level. The Golden Sage struggled to get up and shouted in disbelief. The 6th level. Everyone's heart trembled, and their faces were filled with disbelief. Lu Ming had also cultivated the incomplete attack type divine skill to the 6th level. Both his speed type and offensive type divine skills had been cultivated to the 6th level, the same as Ling Huyi. This was heaven-defying. This time, there were actually 2 such heaven-defying characters. One had to know that the further one cultivated an incomplete divine skill, the more difficult it would be to cultivate, and the more powerful it would be. For example, Golden Saint, Yang Chong, and Huya were all existences who could control divine-grade divine power. To be able to control divine-grade divine power, one's comprehension ability was definitely not bad. However, they had only cultivated it to the peak of the 4th heaven, which was far from the 6th heaven. Many found it hard to believe, but they knew that it was the truth. Otherwise, it would not have been able to break through the defense of the Golden Sage. Ling Huyi could not break it because his divine power level was too low. However, Lu Ming's divine power level was not low. Amazing, amazing, what terrifying comprehension. His future achievements will be limitless. Many people exclaimed. Our indestructible swords sect will definitely want this kind of person. An expert from the indestructible swords sect suddenly spoke. You're determined to not destroy the sword sect. Laughable. My unique Devil Academy wants this kid. In my opinion, the Boundless Sacred Academy is more suitable for him. At this moment, the cultivators of the three overlord forces all spoke. These experts were no small matter. They had seen something unusual. They felt that Lu Ming had not used his full strength. Although Lu Ming had used the soul transformation technique to conceal the characteristics and levels of the ruler's divine power, such an expert had sharp eyes. They could vaguely sense that Lu Ming's divine power was unfathomable and high above. Therefore, they spoke up one after another. Many people were at a loss for words, and some young men were extremely envious. The assessment had not even ended yet, and the three overlord forces had already started seeing people. Other people could not join the three overlord forces even if they wanted to. However, Lu Ming had become a popular person. He could choose from the three overlord forces. This kind of treatment was really different. It was no wonder that he was envious. Freak. I never thought that there would be such a freak in my chaotic astral river. Brother Fa, congratulations. Brother Fa, please forgive me if I've been inconsiderate in the past. In the chaotic astral river, some of the leaders of the forces had already begun to fawn over Fa Ming. In particular, some of the leaders of the forces who had a grudge against the ancestor of technique were even smiling obsequiously and flattering him. What a joke. It was a sure thing that Lu Ming would join the three overlord forces. He would also be valued. The influence of the righteous army would definitely rise. As for Kang Ji and Situ Haonan, both of their eyes revealed a look of fear. Many thoughts turned in their hearts and they already started to think about what to do next. Do you still want to fight? Lu Ming's gaze shifted to King Kong. I'm not fighting anymore. Since you've broken through my defense, I admit defeat. Jin Gang shook his head and returned to the stone platform. Lu Ming had won this battle. Now, there was still the final battle, which was Lu Ming against Ling Huyi. Lu Ming, do you need to rest? The middle-aged man asked. I don't need to. Lu Ming shook his head. All right. The middle-aged man nodded and looked at Ling Huyi. Ling Huyi, do you still want to fight? The reason why he asked this was that, judging from the strength on the surface, Ling Huyi was not Lu Ming's match. The incomplete divine skills that the two of them had comprehended were similar, but Lu Ming's cultivation level was slightly weaker. He was at the demigod level. However, Lu Ming's divine power level was much higher than Ling Huyi's. His overall ability was still higher than Ling Huyi's. Fight! Ling Huyi's answer was simple, and he jumped into the fighting ring. Ling Huyi actually accepted the challenge. I'm afraid he can't match Lu Ming. Some people were discussing. He couldn't use divine artifacts in the Dream SPCE, and he couldn't use some secret techniques either. In a situation where he was weaker on the surface, he could only rely on his battle techniques and consciousness. If Ling Huyi wanted to win, he had to be far superior to Lu Ming in terms of combat awareness and combat skills. However, that was obviously impossible. Buzz! Buzz! The two of them moved at the same time, and an intense battle began. Ling Huyi's combat skills and combat awareness were very strong. They were astonishingly strong. However, Lu Ming was not inferior at all. He was even stronger than Ling Huyi. There was no suspense in this battle. After more than 10 moves, Ling Huyi was hit by Lu Ming and retreated while vomiting blood. You've lost. Lu Ming said indifferently. Lu Ming, I lost today because my divine power level is not high enough. If my divine power level was high enough, I would not have lost. Ling Huye's face was dark. This time, he had thought that he could sweep away all the heroes and take the first place. He did not expect to be defeated by Lu Ming. He was a little unwilling. Even though this was only a test, he would not allow himself to lose. Lu Ming smiled faintly and did not say anything. Lu Ming, how about we fight again 1,000 years later? Ling Huyi continued to issue a challenge. I'll accompany you anytime. Lu Ming said. Alright, after 1,000 years, we'll fight and I'll definitely defeat you. Ling Huyi was full of confidence. As long as he obtained the divine skill, the level of his divine power would continue to rise. He might even cultivate to the peak and condense divine grade divine power. Alright, the assessment is over. The middle-aged man announced in the air. Many people's hearts trembled. The main event was about to begin. The examination had ended. Now, it was time to join the Qin Heaven 13 clans. Many of the youths couldn't help but feel nervous. Chapter 2652 Rejecting the three overlords, especially those who had been eliminated in the first round, they were even more nervous. In theory, they had the chance to join the Qin Heaven 13 clans, but it would depend on luck. If you're unlucky, you won't be able to join. How could they not be nervous when this concerned their future? Lu Ming, the inextinguishable sword sect, sincerely invites you to join us. Lu Ming, the unique demon academy welcomes you. The boundless holy land welcomes you. The powerhouses from the three overlord forces extended their invitations to Lu Ming one after another. Although the top 10 sects were also very tempted, they sighed and didn't say anything when they saw the three overlords extending their invitations. They understood that since the three overlord forces had spoken, there was no more hope for them. It would be useless even if they spoke. Everyone's eyes were on Lu Ming. They were all guessing which overlord force Lu Ming would choose to join. However, Lu Ming frowned slightly. Since he had already promised the ancestor of technique that he would join the Kongxian sect, he would not change his mind. Moreover, the Kongxian sect was ranked first among the top 10 sections. Even if it was not as good as the three overlords, it was not too far behind. He actually didn't choose, he's probably hesitating about which of the three overlords to choose. If it were me, I'd also be hesitating. You can stop dreaming. Most people thought that Lu Ming was at a loss as to which overlord force to choose. Lu Ming, as long as you join the indestructible sword sect, with your talent, I'm sure some big shot will take you in as a disciple. You'll have to consider it carefully. The expert from the Eternal Sword sect spoke again. Nonsense, isn't it normal for such a talent to be noticed by a strong person? Lu Ming, I can see that your fighting style is very similar to that of our unique Devil Academy. Joining our unique Devil Academy is your best choice. Your unique Demon Academy is really shameless. How could you say that our fighting styles are similar? Lu Ming, the boundless Holy Land is your best choice. The compet. 1. Tie-in had started to escalate. The experts of the three overlord forces had already started to curse. Seniors. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly opened his mouth and cupped his fists at the powerhouses from the three overlord forces. Lu Ming is grateful for everyone's love. However, I'm afraid that he can't join the Immortal Sword sect, the unique Demon Academy, or the Boundless Holy Land. What? As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked and the scene was silent. Lu Ming had actually rejected the invitations of the three overlord forces at the same time. Was he crazy? The three overlord forces were the strongest in the Qin Heaven Star Zone, with the exception of a few ancient clans. Many people had tried their best to squeeze in but could not. Lu Ming had actually rejected them. Most of the people were shocked. As for Kang Ji and Situ Haonan, they were ecstatic. Ha ha ha, this kid, to think that he's so talented. Turns out he's just an idiot. He actually rejected the three overlord forces. Idiot, what an idiot. Not only will he not be able to join the three overlord forces, but he will also offend the experts of the three overlord forces. Kang Ji and Situ Haonan laughed madly in their hearts. They were simply overjoyed. Am I right or wrong? The ancestor of technique sighed in his heart. He was filled with guilt toward Lu Ming. If it were not for his request, Lu Ming would most likely choose to join the three overlord forces. As expected, the experts of the three overlord forces all revealed unhappy expressions. Lu Ming, you'd better consider it carefully. That's right, think carefully before you speak. The cultivators from the three overlord forces spoke one after another. Seniors, Lu Ming can only thank everyone for their love. Lu Ming cupped his fists and refused again. The faces of the experts from the three overlord forces darkened. You don't know your place. You're so stubborn. Displeased voices came from the experts of the three overlords. If Lu Ming had chosen one of the three overlord forces, it would have been fine. Now that Lu Ming and the other two had rejected him together, they were embarrassed. Said. The experts of the top 10 sects were ecstatic. That was because they had a chance. Lu Ming, the Kong Xian sect sincerely invites you to join us. My multi-story building sect welcomes you, my flying snow sect is sincerely inviting you. The top 10 sects all invited Lu Ming to join them. Lu Ming's gaze swept across the powerhouses from the top 10 sects and finally landed on the powerhouses from the Kong Xian sect. Lu Ming, and am willing to join the Kong Xian sect. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said. He's joined the Kong Xian sect. Someone shouted. But more people were puzzled. Why did Lu Ming choose to join the Kong Xian sect instead of the three chiefs? Although the Kong Xian sect was ranked first among the top 10 sects, it was still not as good as the three overlords. Instead of the three overlord forces, he chose the Kong Xian sect. Perhaps, he's an old friend of the Kong Xian sect. Many people guessed this. The powerhouses of Kong Xian sect were overjoyed. They did not expect that Lu Ming would choose the Kong Xian sect in the end. Good, come here. The powerhouses from Kong Xian sect nodded repeatedly and were overjoyed. Senior, I have a request. A few of my friends would like to join the Kong Xian sect. Please fulfill my request. Lu Ming said. Friends, no problem. Who are you? The powerhouse from the Kong Xian sect said. Lu Ming's gaze landed on Xian Yanqing, Xian Yanjuan, and Tong Shi. Xian Yanqing stepped forward and stood beside Lu Ming. Junior is willing to join the Kong Xian sect. Xian Yanqing said. Xian Yanjin's eyes flickered as he stepped forward and came to Lu Ming's side. However, he did not say anything. Alright, sure, of course. The powerhouse from Kong Xian sect nodded. Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjin's performance just now was also very good, so he naturally wouldn't disagree. Lu Ming, I would like to join the Golden Pool sect, one of the top 10 sections. The divine power I cultivate is more suitable for the Golden Pool sect. At this moment, Tong Shi sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. Lu Ming nodded. He naturally respected Tong Shi's choice. After that, Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and Xian Yanjuan arrived at the Kong Xian sect's district. Ling Hu Yi, the Inextinguishable Sword sect would like to invite you to join us. My unique Devil Academy, the Boundless Holy Land. Then, the three overlord forces started to invite Ling Hu Yi. Ling Hu Yi's comprehension was also very high. Although his divine power was still weak, he was still very important to them and they all sent out invitations. I'll join the Eternal Sword sect. Ling Hu Yi spoke, choosing the Inextinguishable Sword sect. The experts of the Inextinguishable Sword sect were overjoyed. Alright. As long as you cultivate well, I guarantee that you'll be able to trample Lu Ming under your feet in 1,000 years. The expert from the Inextinguishable Sword sect said, casting Lu Ming an unhappy glance. Lu Ming smiled faintly and did not say a word. It's too early to say that now. The powerhouse from the Kong-Xian sect replied coldly. Now that Lu Ming was a member of the Kong-Xian sect, it was only natural that the powerhouses of the Kong-Xian sect would protect him. Moreover, although the Kong-Xian sect was not as powerful as the Immortal Sword sect, they were not afraid. Chapter 2653 Kong-Xian Planet. The atmosphere between the powerhouses from the Indestructible Sword sect and the Kong-Xian sect was filled with the smell of gunpowder. Humph. In the end, the expert from the Indestructible Sword sect waved his sleeve and snorted coldly, not saying anything. Following that, the three overlord forces and the top 10 sects began to invite Yang Chong, Huya, and Golden Sage. In the end, the Golden Sage joined the Eternal Sword sect. Huya had joined the Unique Devil Academy. Yang Chong had joined the Boundless Holy Land. Of course, the Kong-Xian sect and the Eternal Sword sect had the greatest gains this time. The Kong-Xian sect had Lu Ming, while the Inextinguishable Sword sect had Ling Hu Yi and the Golden Sage. After the few at the peak were invited, the Qin Heaven 13 clan started to invite the geniuses that had performed well before. One by one, the geniuses joined the Qin Heavenly 13 clans. Of course, most of them joined the three overlord forces, but there were also some who joined the top 10 sects because they were suitable. Not everyone was suitable to join the three overlord forces. Situ Feng, my Unique Devil Academy invites you to join us. At this moment, the expert from the Unique Demon Academy looked at Situ Feng. Situ Feng's comprehension was also extremely high, and he was chosen by the experts of the Unique Demon Academy. Situ Feng was overjoyed. This junior is willing to join the Unique Devil Academy. Situ Feng quickly bowed and said, N. The expert from the Unique Devil Academy nodded. Senior, I wish to bring a few people to join the Unique Devil Academy with me. Is that all right? Situ Feng asked carefully. Who are they? The expert from the Unique Devil Academy asked. Situ Feng immediately told him about Kang Long and Situ Shaolai, including their ranking in the first round. Alright, sure. The expert from the Unique Devil Academy considered for a moment and nodded. We have joined the Unique Devil Academy. We have joined the Unique Devil Academy. Outside the Dream S.P.C.E., under the big screen, Kang Long and Situ Shao naturally saw it. They were so excited that they were about to explode. Ha ha ha, good, good. Situ Haonan and Kang Ji were also overjoyed. They only felt refreshed and their mood was at ease. This way, they would not be afraid of the righteous army. Lu Ming had actually chosen the Kong-Xian sect. The Kong-Xian sect was only a top sect. As for Situ Feng, he had joined the Overlord Force, the Unique Demon Academy. Although Lu Ming was highly valued by Kong-Xian sect, Situ Feng had become a disciple of the Unique Demon Academy and did not need to be afraid of Lu Ming. As for the Free and Unfettered sect and the Yuan Luo Palace, they wouldn't need to fear the righteous army anymore. Sure enough, the eyes of some of the leaders of the forces in the chaotic astral river also flickered. They were considering their attitude toward the righteous army, the Yuan Luo Palace, and the Unfettered sect. Although Lu Ming would be valued by the Kong-Xian sect. However, Kong-Xian sect was only a top sect, while the Yimo Academy was the overlord force. It was hard to tell who was stronger between Lu Ming and Situ Feng. Let's not get involved in the battle between the two sides for now. The masters of many forces in the chaotic astral river think this way. However, after some of the top geniuses were chosen, the Qin Heaven 13 clans no longer took the initiative to invite people. In the first round, those who were ranked in the top 100 in their respective battlefields were free to choose a sect. As long as the sect agreed, they could just register and it would be done. One by one, the youths began to choose the Qin Heaven 13 clans and register their information. A day later, all 1999 people who entered the second round had joined the Qin Heaven 13 clans. As for those who are eliminated in the first round, in the next few days, if anyone is chosen by the Qin Heaven 13 clans, we will naturally send someone to inform you. If there is no news after 7 days, it means that they have not been selected. The middle-aged man announced. Many people sighed and could only wait for the news nervously. If you have anything to do, get it done within 7 days. 7 days later, gather at the Kongxian sect's base in Wanling City, and they'll bring you to their headquarters. The powerhouse from Kongxian sect said. Lu Ming and the rest nodded. Then, everyone left the dream SPCE, and the screen above Wanling City disappeared. In the next 7 days, Wanling City was bustling with activity. Some people were celebrating, while others were waiting anxiously. Lu Ming and the rest met up with the ancestor of technique and celebrated with each other. Tong Shi had also successfully joined the Golden Pool sect. In the blink of an eye, 7 days had passed, said. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and Xian Yanjuan arrived at the base of the Kongxian sect in the city of Wanling. Myriad Spirit Planet was the largest commercial planet in the Qin Heaven Star Zone. The Qin Heaven 13 clans all had shops on Myriad Spirit Planet and even caravans, so they naturally had bases. Lu Ming and the others gathered in a huge mansion. Other than Lu Ming and the group, there were some other people. The total number was about 150 people. This was the total number of disciples that the Kongxian sect had recruited this time. In the vast Qin Heaven galaxy, more than 1 million geniuses were selected. In the end, the Kongxian sect only selected 150 people. This probability could be said to be very low. When Lu Ming and the others arrived, many eyes turned to them. Lu Ming and the other two were very eye-catching. Lu Ming's talent was amazing and he came in first in the assessment. Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan were both beautiful and looked almost identical. It was hard not to attract attention when the three of them stood together. Most of the people looked at Lu Ming with admiration, but some of them had a strong fighting spirit. After all, his cultivation base had been suppressed during the assessment. Many of them actually had very high cultivation levels, far above Lu Ming's. They had powerful combat abilities, but they still looked down on and were hostile to Lu Ming, who had not become a god. Brother Lu. A young man smiled and greeted Lu Ming. Brother Deng. Lu Ming also smiled. This young man was the person who had fought against Lu Ming in the 20th zone in the first round of the assessment, Deng Yu. Back then, when he lost to Lu Ming, he was convinced of his defeat and had no hostility toward Lu Ming. Later on, when he saw Lu Ming coming in first in the assessment, he was even more impressed. It was obvious that Deng Yu had also joined the Kongxian sect. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. At this moment, several figures flashed and appeared. The person in the lead was the powerhouse from the Kongxian sect. He had been in charge of the Kongxian sect's disciple recruitment this time. Let me introduce myself. Im Huo Quan, an outer sect elder of the Kongxian sect. Now, follow me, I'll bring you to the headquarters of the Kongxian sect. The elder said. Huo Quan made a brief introduction and then led Lu Ming and the rest to a teleportation array. The Kongxian sect was one of the Qin Tian 13 sects and was ranked first among the top 10 sections. It was extremely powerful and the territory it occupied was vast. The Kongxian sect occupied dozens of galaxies and countless vital planets. The headquarters of the Kongxian sect was called the Kongxian planet. The Kongxian planet was a huge life planet. Around it, there were 8 other huge planets. Chapter 2654 Outer Sect Myriad Spirit Planet was very far away from planet Kongxian. Even though they had been using the teleportation formation, it took them a month to reach one of the planets near planet Kongxian. The teleportation formation couldn't teleport directly to the Kongxian planet. It could only teleport to the planets around the Kongxian planet. They stood on this planet and looked into the SPCE. They could see a huge star slowly rotating in the void. That was planet Kongxian. Whoosh! 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 On this planet, beams of light shot up into the sky and flew toward planet Kongxian. A starship. All of them were starships. At first glance, most of the rainbow lights were starships, rushing into CE and flying toward planet Kongxian. At a glance, there were at least a few thousand starships. This scene was shocking. This, as expected of the Kongxian sect. Lu Ming sighed. He could not calm down. Chaotic Astral River's righteous army was indeed incomparable to the Kongxian sect. The difference was too great. The righteous army only had a dozen or so interplanetary warships, and they were all of the lowest grade. But here, at a glance, there were thousands of them. There was no comparison at all. The righteous heavenly army was like a remote village, while planet Kongxian was like an international metropolis. Hua Quan took out an interstellar battleship. The interstellar battleship expanded rapidly and floated in the air. "Let's get into the starship," Hua Quan said. After everyone had entered, Hua Quan took control of the starship and flew towards planet Kongxian. This interplanetary warship was of a higher grade and much faster than the ones of the righteous army. From the inside, one could see that the Kongxian planet was slowly growing larger, until it finally covered the sky and blocked everyone's vision. After Pa-S sing through the atmosphere of Kongxian planet, everyone got out of the starship. Under Hua Quan's lead, they flew in one direction and soon came to a huge mountain. This mountain range stretched on endlessly and was incomparably huge. One could see that there were all sorts of buildings built on it. From time to time, there would be people flying in the air. This is the outer court district of the Kongxian sect. All the disciples who have just joined are considered outer court disciples of the Kongxian sect. Only when you break through to the true God stage can you enter the inner sect area and become an inner sect disciple of the Kongxian sect. You'll be able to enjoy all kinds of benefits, Hua Quan said. Everyone nodded. In fact, most of the sects had similar rules. The hierarchy was strict, and it was also to stimulate the disciples to cultivate hard. Of course, if you want to become an inner sect disciple, there are also restrictions. Within 1,000,000 years, if you can't break through to the true God realm, you'll lose the qualification to become an inner sect disciple forever. You can only go to other planets and help the sect manage some businesses, Hua Quan said. 1,000,000 years. Many people's hearts trembled, and then they revealed determined expressions. In 1,000,000 years, they had to break through to the true God realm. 1,000,000 years might seem long, but it was nothing to a martial god. In the martial god realm, if one did not have some natural treasures or supreme-grade divine pills, it would be extremely difficult to break through each level. It would take a lot of time. Especially the bottleneck from virtual god level to true god level, many people would be stuck for hundreds of thousands of years, millions of years, or even tens of millions or hundreds of millions of years. They were all very young, all under 10,000 years old. Although they were all talented, they couldn't guarantee that they could all break through to the true God realm within 1,000,000 years. If he couldn't break through to true God, he would have to be signed to other planets to help Kongxian sect manage their businesses. In that case, his achievements in the future would be limited if he was distracted. Within 1,000,000 years, I will definitely become a true God and an inner sect disciple. I'm already at the 3rd level of the void God realm. I'll definitely break through within 1,000,000 years. The 150 youths all had determined gazes and were extremely confident in themselves. Hua Quan saw this and smiled casually. He had lived for a long time and had seen too many geniuses that appeared once every 1,000 years. Every one of them had great confidence at the beginning. However, every year, many people couldn't break through within 1,000,000 years. Most of them were stuck at the peak of the void God realm. Of course, he wouldn't say it out loud to hurt everyone's confidence. Follow me, let's go, Hua Quan said as he flew toward the mountain range ahead. The group followed him, and soon, they arrived at the mountain range's exit. 2 young men, a man and a woman, came over to welcome them. Greetings, Elder Hua. The 2 young men bowed. Hua Quan nodded and said to Lu Ming and the rest, follow these 2 senior brothers and sisters to find a place to stay. After you've settled down, you'll have to register your information at the Human Affairs Hall in 3 days and receive your ident. 1. Tai tokens. I'm going to report your matter now. With that, Huaquan turned into a rainbow and left. Junior brothers and sisters, we outer sect disciples live separately for men and women. Men live in one area, and women live in another area. Junior sisters, follow me. The woman said, then turned around and flew into the mountain range. Lu Ming, I'll be leaving first. Xian Yanqing said to Lu Ming. Go. Lu Ming smiled and nodded. Then, Xian Yanqing, Xian Yanjuan, and the other female disciples left with the woman. There were more than 150 of them. There were fewer women, about 50 of them, and the remaining 100 were all male disciples. My fellow junior brothers, follow me. The man said. He turned around and left, and everyone followed. Soon, they came to a building. There were courtyards here, and each one was extremely spacious. This is where the outer sect disciples will live. You can choose for yourself. There is a sign on the door of each courtyard. However, if there is someone living here, the sign will be taken off. You can choose those with the sign. You can choose at will. After you've made your choice, report to the Human Resources Hall within 3 days. After saying that, the young man turned around and left, as if he had some concerns. Lu Ming and the group were puzzled, but they did not care. They walked toward the courtyards. Squeak. At this moment, the door of a courtyard opened and a few young men walked out. They looked at Lu Ming and the rest with a mocking expression. The once-in-millennium newcomer is here again. One of the young men chuckled and walked toward Lu Ming and the rest. Greetings, senior brothers. Some people greeted the young men. After all, they were new here, and some people didn't dare to act rashly. It was obvious that one of the young men was the leader. It was a young man in a yellow robe. He had an aquiline nose and a sharp face. He nodded and glanced at Lu Ming and the others. Right now, you still don't have the right to choose a courtyard. I'm not qualified to choose a courtyard yet. However, that senior brother just now, someone said. Nonsense, I have the final say here. The yellow-robed young man's eyes turned cold as he rebuked, if you want to choose a courtyard, you can. But you have to pay 10,000 divine crystals each. What? 10,000 divine crystals? Someone exclaimed. 10,000 divine crystals wasn't a small amount.